check out my new ill sick super fresh dope space age mixtape. Booyah!
Yeah, we are back with another episode of the Space Age Mixtape. I am your host, Roman Cortez, and the date today is... What's the date today? March 9th. And today, we are in the beautiful city of Cerritos. Cerritos, right?
Cerritos.
Yes. All right, everybody, get ready for my next guest. He's a DJ, producer, teacher, martial artist, and co-founder of the groups Visionaries and Beat Junkies. He was a 96 DMC West Coast champion and part of the 97 and 98 ITF team champions. He's worked with so many hip-hop artists, such as DJ Premier, Cypress Hill, Razkaz, Mayor Hawthorne, Peter Butter Wolf, Talib, Kweli, and Madlib. But there's more than that, right? Yeah. He was a tour DJ for Dilla's European tour, which I didn't know until I looked it up. And I was like, ooh. He's currently an instructor at the Beat Junkies Institute of Sound. And you can hear some of his latest production work on the album from, what is it? Hootie.
The Fly Hooligan?
The Fly Hooligan. And then the titles, There's Hoolie and Everyone Else, which just came out this February. And he just recently received his brown belt in jujitsu, which is crazy. That's not easy. That's definitely not easy.
Boy, it's not.
And he's one of the nicest and most humble DJs you'll ever meet.
Checks in the mail.
Yeah. And everybody give it up for DJ RHETTMATIC. I'll give you another explosion.
Man, Roman, I am so, dude, you got like everything you want, dude. Like I was like, dude, you got an intro, he got his podcast.
Dude, I'm trying to be pro, man.
You got literally but like, damn, like that.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying to be as good as you, man.
Shit.
All right, first question: what do you consider yourself?
What do you mean?
You a DJ, producer,
what?
Good guy?
Shit.
You ever thought about it?
Nah,
you don't even think about it.
I don't think about
it.
You're
just red.
I'm just red.
Yeah. And where did you come up with your name? DJ RHETTMATIC.
All right, Roman, since you're married to a Filipino.
Yep.
So this is some Filipino logic, which I don't really understand. Okay. So if you do Google it, people will find out. My birth name is Nazareth.
Yeah.
So, being that my parents, Filipino, Catholic, right? So this, they told me, I remember when I was young, I was like, why'd you name me Nazareth and why'd you call me Red? Well, Red, our favorite movie is Gone with the Wind. So the lead character is named, no, they told me first, we pray to Jesus, if you give us a boy, we will name him after your birthplace, Nazareth. I was like, okay.
You're like, thanks.
I was like, yeah, because, I was like, I never heard, I was like, what the hell's a Nazareth? Right? and then it's like, well, how did I get red? And I was like, well, our favorite movie's Gone with the Wind. Clark Gable's our favorite actor. We like the lead actor. I mean, the character is Rhett Butler. Right? And it's like, well, how'd you get Nazareth and Rhett? And this is where the Filipino logic comes in, right? Well, Nazareth and Rhett, it rhymes. It's Nazareth, Nazareth, and RHETT. There's spelling.
There's an R in there.
You're not helping things.
So that's where it came from.
Yeah. So basically, growing up, I didn't like my name because it's not.
Did you use Nazareth in grade school?
No, I used Rhett. But even then, it was everybody. What's a Reg? Yeah. So for a hot minute, I would call myself Rich.
Rich? Oh.
Just because this was easier. Everybody, right? And they say Nazareth, they were like, what is that? Kids are,
they're brutal.
They're brutal and stuff like that. So I used to hate my name growing up and stuff just because people would, they couldn't pronounce it or they couldn't spell it. They couldn't, it was one of those things. Yeah, because it's somewhat traumatic and stuff. But, obviously you get older, oh, you know, I like my name.
Yeah, it's actually, when you hear Nas, that's a cool ass name.
Yeah.
Like no one, it's very original. I've never known anyone else known.
There's very few, I've found out there's a very few Rhetts out there now, right? Nazareth, the only Nazareth I know, shout outs to my man Cockney O'Dyer from Scheme Team.
Oh, shit.
His name's Nazareth.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or Naz.
You still talk to him?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he lives in New Orleans. So Cockney is like, he's still selecting. He's just like that, you know, but...
yeah, we used to watch him all the time, Cockney.
Yeah, you know, him and Divine Styler and stuff like that. So, you know, but Divine's, I rarely get to see Divine, but Divine's out there, but he's, you know, mysterious guy and stuff. But yeah, Cockney's still doing his thing.
Yeah, we would always copy his dance moves all the time. Like, oh man, what's he doing now? Then he'd pause the video, like, okay, I think he's doing this, so let's do that. Yeah.
But it's the funniest, okay, so, because...
So where did the Matic come from?
Okay, so... so RHETTMATIC, how did that come from? So originally, coming up, you know how you were doing at least 2 out of the 4 elements in hip hop. So I was a popper, I was, you know, a graffiti artist, and then got, you know, and then eventually DJing and stuff. As a graffiti artist, what do you call it? My original graffiti name was Fix, Phix, and stuff like that. And then, so growing up in Cerritos, you know, we had 3 local legends. One of them was Curse.
Curse, yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, if everybody doesn't know, Curse is an OG beat junkie. He's 1 year older than me. He's like kind of like my mentor, per se, like someone I looked up to. I would say he was, to me, for LA at least, he was Qbert before they were Qbert.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
So
we knew him. We were in the Inland Empire. We knew of Curse.
Well, Curse was like, growing up, you know, he was one of the, I mean, even though Filipinos were always involved in hip hop, right? But you grew up, Roman, you grew up in the West Covina.
Yeah.
Rolling Heights.
Yeah. Those are all like my friends. I grew up near San Bernardino, but once I got into DJ culture, everyone was West Covina.
Right.
Azusa, yeah.
So, the thing with, you know, like like there was, you know, the Filipino, you know, during those days, you know, Filipino community is like, you know, its own scene. And so it's almost like a bubble.
Yeah.
Whereas it was Curse already. I mean, he wasn't even named as Curse. He was going by his real name. Like Ray
Belling.
We used to Ray B or Raymond Belling. Yeah. You know, Raymond Belling? It's like, yeah. And the thing is, he was respected within the, you know, black and brown community. Like he was kind of doing stuff already that, like, when I was a freshman, he was a sophomore, he was DJing at Skate Ranch, you know, he was, you know, he knew people that was already connected to K-Day. And
oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, he's
already out there.
He was doing a lot of stuff already, you know, he was, you know, at that time that was big. I was like, you know, there were Filipino DJs, but he was the one that like actually seen that, like, cut it up.
Yeah.
And then cats were like, yo, that's was one of the man. So another guy was another person I looked up to was a local legend. His name is his DJ name was Arabian Night, KNHIT, a black brother. And ironically, Curse and Arabian Night were also a crew. They were called Night Madness because Curse's old name was named Siberian Night. In Arabian Night, so their crew was called Night Madness.
So Curse was with Arabian Night in a crew?
Yes, they were called Night Madness. They were a two-man crew. I never knew that. Right. So
awesome. So
Arabian Night was also at one time a K-Day mix master. Like not really like what, if you know the history, he's not like the main circle. He was for a hot second, but you know, eventually became a rapper. Goes by the name of Psycho from a group called Insane Poetry. So he's kind of like one of the forefathers of horrorcore rap, right? So eventually became, you know, MC, but he, like, I knew him, well, even before them, he's doing, you know, as Drew Rocksky and stuff like that. Okay. So, and then another one who's probably like one of the, you know, like out of the 3, he was kind of like the man, this guy named Scratchmatic. So, eventually he changed his name to, his real name was Anthony. He changed his name to Antron because he actually won one of the first LA DJ battles in Radiotron. And
the classic spot.
Yeah. So the owner of Radiotron, you know, like say, you know, change your name from Scratchmatic to, you know, you're Anthony, so Antron. So Curse would kind of like joke around and say like, "Yo, RHETTMATIC." I didn't want to be called, because I don't want to get beat up and think I'm biting the name.
Yeah.
Then everybody kind of started calling me that. It just kind of stuck.
Wow. So he gave you your name.
Yeah. So, but the funniest thing is though, like when when he was, when I said like, I don't know about RHETTMATIC, because I thought it was like, man, that sounds like a refrigerator appliance name and shit. What the hell is a RHETTMATIC and shit like that? But it stuck, So once all the homies just started saying, RHETTMATIC, I was just like, might as well just go with RHETTMATIC.
Well, you can't change it now.
Yeah, I can't change it. Yeah. So that's how I got RHETTMATIC.
RHETTMATIC, that's a good, that's some good history.
Yeah. So, like we were talking about, so I know you since what, the 90s?
90s. Yeah.
I know you were a DJ, you were a graffiti artist. Yeah. You're also at one point a freestyle dancer too,
yeah.
Right? So we have.
That's where I made all my money was freestyle dancing.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I mean, it was you were, you and J-Ski, shouts to J-Ski from the DP, Mighty Giants DP Sound. You guys were in your DJ group was called Chaos, right?
His crew was called Chaos, and then we were part of a bigger group called Creativity.
Okay, yes.
But then we recruited J-Ski into our graffiti crew called SOL. So that was me, Cheeto, James, and we met James through all the party flyers. Back then it was all party flyers.
Right.
Who's the one doing the Sharpie? Like I remember seeing you did some flyers too, because I remember I didn't realize you could draw, and I saw it and I was like, whoa, what? I didn't know Rhett could draw. Yeah.
Graffiti.
I was like, oh shit. And then Cheeto was the one that was telling me, he's like, yeah, he's badass. I was like, oh damn. Yeah, I knew a whole.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, a lot of people, if like I'm also part of NASA crew. So
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's a legendary crew, the NASA crew
from Cerritos and stuff like that. So, but anyway, so
Cerritos was like the hot spot. Because growing up, we would hear about DJs and be like, we would hear about West Covina, then you would hear about like Rolling Heights, and then we would hear about Curse, and then Cerritos, and then where was Icy Ice from?
Ice is from Carson.
Okay, so you guys were all kind of out here, and we're like, who are all these other guys? And then my friends went to Bishop Amont, and then they got one of Ice's mixtapes, and we're like, oh shit, this dude like can scratch. And then we started going to like the parties, and you start seeing everybody.
Right.
Like, there's like a whole like other scene right here in Cerritos and Carson. It was like,
if you're talking about, I guess, quote unquote, the Filipino scene or whatever, it was like, I would say, no, it was interesting because I'm sure it's the same thing in Covina. It's like there was a big Filipino community, but it was very mixed, like blacks, Latinos, Samoans, like it was just a little bit of everything. So there was a kind of trifecta, I wouldn't say trifecta, but Cerritos, Long Beach, Carson.
You guys had Long Beach out here too.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was like, there was, the mobile DJs, major mobile DJ crews were coming from Cerritos, Long Beach, and Carson. But that's only in terms of even just the Filipinos. Like, you're not even talking about even with the Latino scenes, shit like that, right? And then you really think about, obviously, when you start hearing about A.D.I.D.A. and Uncle Jam's Army, and then other crews, a little bit smaller and stuff like that. So like there was a group in Carson called J. Thobin Productions. There was a group called Cosmic Scratch Force, which is Curse used to be in that group. And
Cosmic Scratch, that's a dope name.
Yeah, it was like and that was the thing. Curse was like, that's another thing. Like, again, the Cosmic Scratch Force was from Carson, and they were black. And Curse is like,
he's only Filipino inside.
Like a Filipino. Like, and then he was one. Curse doesn't like me when I say this because but the funniest thing, he doesn't remember a lot of this shit. But like he battled Knights of the Turntables.
Was that at the Palladium or somewhere?
No. That's another thing. That was
we heard about this battle about Knights of the Turntables. Yeah.
No, Knights of the Turntables. So Knights of the Turntables also from Carson.
Okay.
So if you know your history of that, that's another. That's I guess a smaller version of Uncle Jam's Army and stuff from Carson, but they had their own records.
Okay.
They actually if you heard the record, I can't think of it right now, but they were on JDC Records. I can see it.
JDC, okay.
Yeah, and it was just a straight, they program an 808 beat, and it's just straight scratch records. Like the purpose of this record, you know, all they did was scratches and stuff like that. So that was a big thing too, you know?
Yeah, if you heard someone like doing a mix or scratching on a record, you're like, you would look at the credits and be like, who is this?
Yeah, so that was a bit, you know, some big thing right there when Curse was like, you know, he battled them and stuff. I mean, the one you were talking about, Palladium, this is, again, you know, you're not even talking about the Filipino scene. You're talking about the Japanese scene. You know,
yeah.
There was a group called so the one I think you're talking about is there was a group called Westward One.
That's the one. Yeah.
Curse was, you know, so there was a battle between, you know, that's a whole nother story. Stuff like that. But yeah, like I said,
somebody pulled out like chopsticks or a shoe and were scratching with that.
Yeah. You know, but technically it was
legendary, man. I remember.
Yeah, the craziest thing about it, they had a routine. Curse didn't, but you know. Well, they did have a routine, but there was like a little bit more tighter per se. It was more showmanship. So the crowd more, but technically wise, Curse can kill them. But at a battle, they just happened to win because the crowd, like, you know, oh shit, he's scratching with chopsticks, right? But you know, but Curse was way better than them and stuff like. But it just, you know, so
it's a crowd thing,
And then next, you know, that started one thing like that, and you know, so
it's kind of like when Qbert was battling the DJ Dave.
Well, that too.
And then he did the handstand.
Yeah.
And it was like, but did you guys just watch Qbert? Like, he just did like the most amazing stuff. And
right. Well,
they gave it to...
Or it's the same thing like with Aladdin when he went and cut Master Swift won the world.
Yeah, right. So, same thing, yeah.
I know we're talking DJ nerd shit. So like when you're saying about Cerritos, so Cerritos is pretty interesting is because like, you know, I didn't know, you know, like it's like Covina, it's like West Covina or like, you know, it's like a suburb. It's a suburb, right? But we're like 15, 20 minutes from Long Beach, 30 or 25 minutes from Compton. And then I didn't know, like, you know, cats were being bused from Compton, you know, going to our school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, you know.
Just normal.
Just normal. I was like, oh, shit, you know, like that's the homie and shit like that. And, you know, we would hear, you know, lunch dances. Sometimes we have, you know, people bringing, you know, DJs coming in. Like, I don't know if we had K-Day at our school, but, you know, we just, you know, like, I remember it was a big thing if like Curse or Arabian Night or Scratch Mag would DJ.
And you guys would be like, oh, shit, yeah.
And then even before that, there was older generation.
Now, was this before you got in? Well, let's take a step back. Mm-hmm. So you're growing up out here in Cerritos. Is this where you grew up?
No. So my parents are from the Philippines. They moved to the United States in 1968. Okay. So they actually, when they first came here, they first went to Santa Barbara, then end up going to Huntington Park. So I was born in Huntington Park.
Oh, Huntington Park. Ooh.
And then they moved to Cerritos in 71. And then pretty much I was raised here.
Okay. Yeah. Now, do you remember like your first time, I guess, getting a glimpse of like hip hop when you were a kid?
Totally.
Do you know what it was?
I mean,
was it just like what was going on in the culture at the time?
No, it was just, I mean, obviously a lot of people like first record, you know, rap is Rapper's Delight. Yeah. But then again, if you know, had older, you know, I had friends that had older brothers and sisters. So, you know, you watch Soul Train, right?
Right, yeah.
You know, you hear like, I mean, I was hearing funk already and stuff like that from, you know, friends, older brothers and sisters and stuff like that. And you see like, you know, when you see Soul Train, you see the Lockers, or you see What's Happening when you see Rerun. You never, right? You would see the Electric Boogaloos or whatever, but you never, you know, I was
like, this is a great show, and those guys dance great. Like,
right.
That's just what it was. It wasn't like a culture.
Right. You never seen anything like that. And then obviously you would see, I remember seeing breakdancing the first time, breaking on this show called That's Incredible.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah.
Right. So that's
John Davidson and
Kathy. Yeah.
and then Frank Tarkenton.
Yeah. Right. So, what the hell is this show, man? So you know,
that's incredible. Yeah.
So the show was like they had the Floor Masters, which eventually become the New York City Breakers.
Oh, did they have them on? I don't remember.
Yeah. That. If you look, yeah. So the you know, they were talking to the Floor Masters. You know, there's this new thing, new sensation called breakdancing. Yeah. It's like it's an episode. Hopefully it's on YouTube. I'm sure.
Yeah. I'll put it up.
So it's like basically, you know, like the floor. You know, that was the first time seeing breaking, seeing the Floor Masters and stuff like that. Then you know, what really hit home when you see all these things. Mm-hmm. This is when I was in junior high. And I said, I mentioned this in many interviews and stuff. So what I experienced was like, okay, it was lunch. It was lunchtime. And then the circle was forming. And then some of the kids I remember someone broke out on their duffel bag, brought out a boombox, like starts playing Planet Rock.
Oh,
and then I seen cats started popping. And I mean, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, what the hell is this? What's this music? What are they doing? And that's when I kind of like, oh my gosh, what is this? And then that's when I started asking questions and like that. That's kind of like
and that's kind of what drew you in.
Right. And this was junior high. And then when I started, asking like my friends, older brothers, says, oh man, you don't know about popping.
Yeah.
You don't know about, but you know about this record, like they were playing everything. And then eventually you check out KG. And so there was, before 4K, there was, I want to say there was, 12:30 a.m. KGFJ.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah. So that was the kind of like it was an AM station. And then K-Day came on. And you remember they used to play at the same time. At one point, Uncle Jam's Army, I want to say they were on K-Day, and then they eventually went to KGFJ. And then eventually, when Greg Mack got signed, and who's an honor radio personality, a lot of people, if you live in LA, he's actually on 94.7 The Wave and stuff like that. But anyways, he was actually the one that helped start programming K-Day to start playing rap music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's the guy.
He's the man. And that's the one that he also started the K-Day Mix Masters.
Oh, so he's,
So you really hear like Greg Mack and the Mac Attack and the Mix Masters, right? He basically, and it's been out there in interviews and stuff, that he basically wanted to start K-Day Mix Masters to be like Uncle Jam's Army. It was originally supposed to be called Greg Mack and the Mix Marines. And then thank goodness Tony just says no, Mix Masters, like that. So just hearing all that stuff. And then even there was there was also DJing going on. I remember my friends, older brothers and sisters, they would go to these college jams over in Cerritos College, and there was this mobile DJ group called Public Image Musique. Right. So they're legendary. Like over here, they're very legendary. Twin brothers, Lito and Louie. They're Filipino cats. Okay. They were playing everything, but I just remember seeing they had the speaker systems, lights. They even had their logos. They used to have the logo was a record with cursive writing saying Public Image Musique, right? Not music, but musique, right?
So a little logo too. I think it would look like a little nagel or something too.
No. That was
later. Okay.
So those guys were like doing all the parties, and when I just recently connected with my man DJ Juan G, who's also an OG Cerritos, but he was also known as he has a record out. I mean, if you go look at Google, or not Google, but when you go online discography, there's a record called Swami Scratch.
Swami Scratch. Why does that sound familiar?
It's one of those old school records. Yeah. It used to be Nora Record Sales put it out. So, anyways, you can buy those at the time. You buy it at the swap meets and stuff like that. That was a big thing too. Like he was kind of like an OG, like one of the OGs too, and him putting that record out, it was a big thing and stuff like that. So he was going to those parties too as well, and he's black. So he was telling when I reconnected him, he was filling in gaps that I only remember from. I only can remember from this point on, but I'd always see the generation before me, but I wasn't old enough to go to things. Yeah. If anything, if I go into Cerritos College, I can get in. I just had to stay outside or something like that and just listen to the music, right? Because I wasn't old enough. You know?
That's how we got into DJing too. It was our friends' older cousins, and they were. He introduced. He goes, "You guys know what DJing?" I was like, "I don't know what that is." We were 7th grade. And then we went to his house, his garage, and then him and the older cousin, they were probably junior or seniors in high school, and they were like scratching, like, I have no clue what this is, but I love it, and let's try to do this. And he goes, yeah, we're going to form a DJ crew. It's like, cool, I'm in. Right. We didn't know anything. Like, we weren't even mixing. We were just like playing 2 songs and like putting the crossfader over. Right. Yeah.
Well, it was an interesting thing. So the Public Image, eventually they retired. And so, again, like if people... Shouts to Oliver Wang, who I should call him Dr. Oliver Wang. He did a book on Filipino American mobile DJs, but in the Bay Area. Right?
Yes, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
I have that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but there's but you coming here, there's a big Filipino American mobile DJ scene also here, but it's like the difference between say the Bay Area and say LA. They definitely were, besides skills, they were definitely more, they had a bigger sound system, lighting system, whatever.
They were all about that show. Yep.
Right. We had that, but it wasn't not as intricate as theirs. For us, and I think this is where it's different, is because we had K-Day. We had Uncle John's Army. Yeah. So it was like, sure, you had to have a system, but cats, you still had, because listening.
You still had, yeah.
Yeah. We were blessed because we had Egyptian Lover, you had Dr. Dre, right? You had the Crystal Glove Taylor if you're lucky. You had you had all the KD Mix Masters, Tony G, Julio G, Joe Cooley, Aladdin, Battle Cat and stuff like that.
Like all the legends.
All the legends, So I think that was a difference between say the Bay Area and LA.
During that time, what did Bay Area have? They had Cameron Paul.
They had Cameron Paul.
Which I adore. Like, that was my man. Cameron Paul, like, he got me into, like, just like, I want to know how to do all these 4 tracks. And when I first heard one of his, it was like a hip hop melody, like 86 DJ melody, and all these hip hop songs. My friends played it to me and they're like, oh, this is what me and my friend did. I was like, really? I was like, how'd you guys do this? Like, oh, we did it with 4 turntables. And I was like,
everybody.
Well, so I was like, wow, what?
But here's the thing, though. So I'm skipping here a little bit, because Dre was doing that long before Cameron Paul.
Oh, okay.
Remember the rodeo mix?
Yeah.
That's all Dre. Dre and Yella doing 4-track mixes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What if you can get a hold of those tapes? You can find them somewhere.
I don't know if someone's selling, but you can hear it on YouTube. You just put Dr. Dre Rhodium tapes.
Okay.
Like that.
Because all the Cameron Paul you can still listen to.
Right. Yeah. So, but like, Cameron, obviously Cameron Paul is one of the main guys over there. You ask Short, he'll tell you that's the godfather. Eventually, if you go down, a little bit more down the line, there's Jazzy Jim and there's King Tech.
King Tech.
I can't, I don't know all the Bay Area things. That's, but I know enough. You hear things trickle down, right?
Now, so like where we were growing up, I told you the 2 guys that introduced us to DJing, their cousins lived in the Bay Area. So they would get mixtapes. I want to say it might have been Spintronic stuff.
Right.
It could have been. But I remember like we would get that and then we would just copy everything.
Right.
Like, because that's how we would learn. Those were like our teachers, just off the tapes.
No, same thing. It was the same thing. Again, either I would get tape, if I'm lucky to get a tape from Curse, I listen to that thing. Because he was starting to do 4-track mixes and stuff. And obviously, but of course, listening to what was on K-Day. Yeah. What records, like, you try to look for the records. So going back to this, I'm saying public image and stuff, this is where the little thing. The brothers retired, and then they gave the name to Curse and DJ What. So what is another person that grew up in Cerritos, is OG Beat Junkie and stuff like that. But and in some ways, those 2 were like the main guy. There was other DJs. There's my man Nilo, rest in peace, from Ultra Dimensions, a little bit older than us. One of the first cats was besides public image. He was DJing a long time already and stuff like that. But scratching wasn't really starting to get in. When you heard Grandmaster Flash and Adventures of Grandmaster Flash and Wheels of Steel. That was still something. But when Rocket came out, Herbie Hancock with Grand Mixer DST, and then the world famous Supreme Team with Buffalo Gals. That was one of the things. And honestly, I saw, Curse was the first person I see someone actually scratch. Like, I would hear scratching on the radio, obviously, but to see. It was crazy because he had a Newmark mixer, but it didn't have the cross. He had the knob.
The knob. Yeah.
And I remember him he would scratch Rocket, fit. And then he would do doubles. You doing Rockets. It was funny because because we both graduated from Cerritos High School. And I remember, during PE, everybody, he'd bring out his boombox and we'd be around it. And he plays mixes. And he would do his, I would hear his mixes doing Rocket and Buffalo Gals. you know, shit like that. So it's like, you know, it's like, yo, you know, you got the brothers go, yo, Ray, play that shit, man. You know, like that, you know, it's like, dude, you just like, you got all the brothers in the, you know, like, you know,
they're all loving it.
Right. So in terms of he was I guess the next generation in line. So
to
like
kind of start passing things down.
Right. Like in terms of like.
Now, when did you start, like, I want to get into DJing?
I mean, I kind of was little.
Like, when did you get your first turntables?
Shit.
Like high school, mid-high school?
About high school or something like that. I got belt drives, but like like anyone else,
start off with belt drives, right?
Yeah, like anyone else. I had start out with a group, you know, like, but they had the equipment. I didn't, you know.
Yeah.
They kicked me out because I wasn't good enough or something like that.
I got kicked out of a group because I was friends with another guy, so they kicked me out. So then I went with the other guy's group, and we were still doing it. Like, it was good. Did you ever use a record for a scratch mat in the beginning? Like, we didn't know what scratch mats were, so we would just put a record down, then we'd use that as our scratch mat.
No, luckily, again, having, you know, when my first DJ group, they had an older brother, so he kind of knew already. You know, so
the ins and out, which is good, right?
They had a 1200 and stuff, right? But it was like, again, it's like, I couldn't afford a 1200 and stuff like that. I bought got my turntables, my belt drive, Technics belt drive. I think they're 500s.
500,
yeah. Got a federated group.
Federated group. Fred Federated.
Like, everybody's like, what the fuck is this shit?
I think that's where I got my original. They weren't like no pitch. It was just belt drive, but no pitch.
I had the
pitch.
The pitch is it's a dial. It's a dial and stuff. And then of course Radio Shack realistic mixer.
Yep, that's it. Which one did you have? Did you have the fader one or the one with the,
My friends had the up and down, right? And then I saw another friend that had the with the V meter and the fader, and I was like, I need to get that one
with that shitty little knob,
right?
I knew a guy that could scratch on that so good. Yeah, it was just like, so that's why it always depends. Like, it's not really necessarily the equipment. It's like whatever you can do with whatever equipment you have.
I know some people that's like they even
the up and downs, like, you're still good.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't know if I would hear it now. It'd probably be like, oh, that sounds like shit. But back then, I was like,
no, it's interesting. Well, you know, obviously, you know, if you're from our generation, you see Cass, you still using up and down faders and stuff look at Short. You know, Shortcut. You know, like, or Q. You know, like, again,
I still do. Yeah,
I do too. When it's called for, I guess.
Yeah.
So Cerritos again. This is like, it was interesting because like it was like, not to sound crazy, but it was very multicultural. And then we had people like, you know, Shabadoo lived here in Cerritos.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Lived like. It was a big thing when we heard that he moved to Cerritos and stuff like that.
Like, Shabadoo's in our town.
Right. And then this is crazy. I didn't, you know, looking at the thing, and it made sense. We had Leela Rashawn he was married to Leela Rashawn, and she was going to Sears High. But she was older. Right? She was older than, obviously, like, she was probably like 4 or 5, 6 years older than me.
Okay.
And then in Guard, Morris Chestnut went to Guard.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
So it's like a little.
It was interesting. I found out about little things after, you know, like as I got older. And it's just like, yo, shit, really? They were there?
But isn't it cool to like look back and be like, wow, a lot of people just came from our small group. We just kind of grew up and everyone kind of.
It was just like, it was when this.
It's like a little Mecca area.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't meant to be a Mecca. I guess it's because like. Cerritos is one of those things. I guess everyone came from other, you know, like, you know, people from Compton moved here. Cerritos, it's like how everyone would go to Inland Empire now and stuff like that. But so Cerritos was kind of like that. Yeah. So, it was just one of those times you're experiencing everything at once.
Yeah,
you know, whether it was new wave, rock, hip hop.
It was a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything, you know. Of course, you have to be you listen to hip hop.
You can't listen to like Bon Jovi,
right? Yeah. But you still listen, like, you know, if you want to watch music videos, you have to go, you know, watch Duran Duran, and then lucky to if something comes on like Run DMC or, you know, whatever, you know, that if you're lucky, a hip hop video comes up and stuff, you know. So, I mean, a lot of things. Just hearing, you know, because I would say that around 82, 83 is when hip hop came to the West Coast.
Yeah. I think I just remember when Breakin' came out. Mm-hmm. Like, it was so commercial, but like as a kid, I saw that and I was like, this is it. Like, I love breaking.
Right.
Turbo, Shabadoo. Like, oh, I love all these dudes.
This is the craziest thing. So, even like one of our guys looks like, like one of my closest friends growing up and stuff. He's a popper, and he was also part of NASA crew, and he looked like Boogaloo Shrimp. It was funny, but he popped as good. He was good too.
Yeah.
But it was crazy when you found out that Boogaloo Shrimp was from Wilmington. That's like, so you start hearing things, right? You always hear about cats like there's this group called the Time Bandits from Long Beach.
Time Bandits, yeah.
Right? We heard about Pop and Taco. We didn't know. I just realized this maybe 15 years ago that Pop and Taco was originally from Long Beach.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, and then eventually, if you know about the history of the Electric Boogaloos, who kind of like pretty much started popping from Fresno, half of them moved to Long Beach, Popping Pete.
Oh,
so,
Popping Pete, yeah.
Yeah, so Popping Pete is originally from Fresno. His brother's Boogaloo Sam, who's right. They moved to Long Beach. They heard about a Mexican that was good, which is Pop and Taco and stuff like that. So I mean, you see the history. So you see. So when we watch breaking, the rivals, Popping Pete and Pop and Taco, there, right? So, and then
that thing was. I mean, you look back, people's like, oh, they're so commercial, but it was like that was huge for like all of us. Like So the same thing happened to us. Like a kid showed up with his boombox one day and then played it. And he was like, he came from, I want to say he came from New York. He was an out of state transfer. And then he's oh, you guys don't know what like poppin' is? Like, let me show you. And we're like, whoa, like what's he doing? And then on the other side of a fence, these kids walk by and they're like, oh, what are you guys doing? And they were like popping. They were breaking against each other through this like chain link fence. And they're going, but like that whole era was just like huge, man. Like, that whole movement at that time was huge.
It was interesting because, like, I don't know if you remember the show called Eye on LA. It used to be on Channel 7, ABC Channel 7 here in LA. Obviously you would see, obviously, That's Incredible. Real People. Remember
Real
that
People,
show?
yeah. Byron Allen.
They had the dynamic breakers on that thing. But Eye on LA had a thing. They did their LA thing. Right. And so this is when I would see Boogaloo Shrimp. Oh. This is the first time I've seen Boogaloo Shrimp. I would heard his name, but that was the first time hearing it. And then eventually, as time goes on, you will hear this documentary called Breaking and Entering.
Breaking and yeah.
And you can watch it on YouTube now.
Yeah.
But that's like, if everyone wants to know, that's like a real good LA history, like really like early history of hip hop. You see Egyptian Love and the Glove on there. You would see Boogaloo Shrimp, Shabadoo, Pop and Taco, the Dominoes, you would see this group called the Blue City Crew.
Blue City, okay.
Samoans from Carson.
Oh, yeah.
Who are now also known as Booyah Tribe.
Yeah.
And you would see Ice-T on there rapping, but also breaking.
Oh, really?
Ice-T.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
You watch it, you're going to be like, he's breaking and stuff like that. And then, it was a big thing too because so some of the top breakers in Cerritos were Filipino. And there was this cat named this cat named Peter Gomez. He was like he was one of the best b-boys. Filipino cat. Went to GAR, which is the rival school for Cerritos and stuff. And his group was called the Atomic Boppers. And his group, he made it on that documentary into the. Oh, he did. It was a big thing when you heard about that. Oh, some of those people. So remember the movie Fame? Yeah. You know how they had a TV show when they eventually there was the episode where there was a breaking. I don't know if you ever seen that. And a lot of the people that were on there were from Breaking and Entering. One of them was some of them was like Ice-T, Booyah Tribe, a guy named Ozrock, who happens to be one of the first. They were breaking here, but he was the first person from New York to move to LA, and he kind of introduced the. Breaking here, had that like the real stuff, the real stuff, like that. So he was on this TV show called The Pilot. The Pilot, okay. You might have seen it, but it's like look it up on YouTube. It's crazy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good.
So I mean, just again, seeing all these stuffs growing, like hearing all this stuff. Well,
I always liked it that. Like for the kids at the time, right? It were just doing like, we're doing this for fun. No one really thought like, oh, in the long term, like I'm doing this, so I'm gonna set generations up of this hip hop. Yeah. Everyone was just having a good time, just doing it.
It was just, it's the thing is just being popular and just being like, get that respect,
Yeah. And then looking back, it's like that movement just like of course, New York, and then over here, just like influenced like the world.
Totally.
Yeah. When you look back, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Where did we leave off? Filipino parties. That's where I met you. I met you at, well, I didn't meet you. I saw you at a Filipino party.
Right.
We'd go up and I was like, who's this guy? Because you came to the party. Somebody was DJing. You came, you showed up and you had your records and you started playing Orange Juice Jones, The Rain. And I was like,
Did I?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Shit,
And I was like,
that
who is this? Like, this is, oh, no, it was Paul Hardcastle.
Oh, I played Rainforest?
Yeah, Rainforest.
Oh, okay.
And we're like, damn, who's this guy? He's got all the records. Then you played something. I just remember that one, but then you kept playing all these hits. And I was like, who's this dude? Like, oh, yeah, that's RHETTMATIC. And we're like, oh, we don't know who he is. And then like years later, then I got introduced to you. But during that time, like we were just going around, like seeing everybody. Like, yeah, it was huge. Like there was DJs at every party. Like you would always go to like a different party. Like, and of course back then the culture was different because you would stand there and like stare at the DJ. Like,
that was the thing. That was the thing.
There was no like sharing back then.
No. Well, I mean, because
if once you became friends, but
when
the initial was
it was good competition, right? Because from the era you come from, also it's like not only competition, you can't, biting.
Yeah.
That was a big cardinal rule. A rule that's there was in terms of hip hop is like you can't bite. You can't be, if you were known as a biter, that was like the ultimate.
Oh,
You might as well just pack it up and go.
I remember
home.
we were at a party and we mixed two songs together and then some guy shouted out, "That's Spintronics." And we're like, I guess, like I didn't know we got it from somewhere, so we probably did bite it. Right. But yeah, they were very like, very territorial.
It was very thing where it's like, like of course there was battles, but the battles wasn't like DMCs. It was like, let's battle or we're going to fight or you're going to like battle for money or equipment. It was like, it was that, or the name and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this is, so Filipino parties, it's interesting because, again, LA, depending where, you grew up it's interesting because we were all 213s.
Okay.
If you think about it.
No, we were 90, 714.
No. Because even at the time, even West Covina was 213. Yeah. So remember.
But I was more inland. So we were 714.
Okay, so
there was only like two.
Well, because there was 213 and 714. 714 is more Orange County, right? Yeah. And then eventually they started breaking it up. Obviously,
to 909.
If you go that way, it's more 909. You go more Orange County, 714. LA, like if you were in the LA, Cerritos, Hawaiian Gardens, Carson, it became 562. Yeah, right. LA starting to be just stay 213. Yeah, 213. Then some parts became 310. Then, of course, if you go, depending where the valley, because at one point, West Covina was 818. It got turned to 818. Yeah. Same thing. The valley then became like 818. So, when they start breaking up the area codes, but it was just usually be just 213 or 714.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, it was interesting, like you were saying about Filipino parties. I mean, when you start getting older, you realize a lot of this stuff is going down in LA, right? You know, but every city had their own scene, depending what it is, whether it be the Latino scene. Yeah. Most of the time the black, I wouldn't say the black scene, but they're more in LA and South Central and like that. You never heard about that and stuff. You would hear it only through when you listen to K-Day. Yeah. Right. But in terms of the Filipinos or the Asian scene, depending where it is, right? Yeah. Like so, Cerritos was like obviously considered a Filipino, a city. So it was Long Beach, so it was Carson. Then you get to West Covina and Diamond Bar. And if you go to LA, it was like, parts of downtown LA or Temple Street. Yeah. And or Eagle Rock, right? And if you go to Rock, right, if you go to the Valley, it's depending parts of the Valley. So there's pockets, right? Yeah. So, if you were, like obviously you were around Filipinos, so you kind of, you kind of
those pockets.
You hit those pockets and you just kind of congregate in that circle. So like you were saying, you go like, it's one thing you go to all the parties already in Cerritos, then you start branching out. But this is during this time too. Also, this is when gangs started really coming into effect. Yeah. So, and it's not obviously Colors. The movie Colors kind of accentuated it. But we always knew there were gangs, but you just never. And it's interesting because Cerritos is surrounded by Hawaiian Gardens, Norwalk, and there was like a big Latino community. Yeah. And then, of course, as you go a little bit further, there's Long Beach, you hit Carson and Wilmington. If you go in another way, you'll eventually hit Compton and Carson, Dominguez Hills and stuff like that. So it's, Cerritos was like in the middle of things like that. And then, of course, when you start hearing things like, be careful, don't do this, don't go there, watch out. You then start hearing certain gangs like, you will say, of course, Filipino gangs, but then of course you hear about the Crips and the Bloods.
Yeah.
And then depending on which neighboring Mexican gang, right? Or, if Islanders, there was the Islanders and SOS, like that. So,
and you would hear about things, you would hear about shootings at parties. I mean, I don't know if you DJ'd, but like we would DJ parties and got shoot up.
Oh,
you would hear like, you're like, what is that? Then the music, you would turn down the music and you just turn it down and then you would hear like, and you're like, oh, everyone get down.
Yeah, the same thing. It was, but so, and that was the thing too, is like when you start going to, a group of us would start, like want to venture out of Cerritos. And then you hear a story about like, if we go like to say West Covina or that whole area right there, you heard about a house party, you go over there, you go there and shit like that. And you just like...
You never know who you're going to see. It's like, it's either going to be like gang filled or it's just going to be like a party place.
Right.
Yeah.
But then this is the interesting part. Like when the gang situation is like, if you're not even a gang, but it's like, if you're from Cerritos, they think, oh, you're associated with this gang. Yep. If you're from West Covina, you're associated with this gang. Yeah. If you're from LA, it's just one of those things.
Now, when you would go to those parties, would you roll deep?
Obviously, yeah.
So like every time we would do that, like you would kind of roll deep, like you'd all show up and you'd be like, oh, what gang is that? You're like, no, I'm just like, we're just partying.
Well, I mean, you can tell who's gangsters, and you can tell who's like, I mean, it was the interesting thing, depending on where you're at. Like obviously, if you're in like you South Central or like East LA, they already got certain looks, right? For whatever reason, Filipinos or Asians. Wearing pompadours, but you can't really. It was like a mesh. They dress hip hop, but then some of them might be gangsters. It was just one of those weird things. It was weird things. So you had to be, like it's like you. Most of the time you can kind of tell like, oh, he's a gangster. This is or that they're into hip hop and shit. But then sometimes you had cats that were like into hip hop, but they were also gangsters. So but yeah, Filipino. That was the. At least if you're in the Filipino community, that was the thing to do, go to house parties. But then again, I don't know, because from where I'm at, we'd go to not only the Filipino parties, we'd go to the Japanese parties. We even go to the Mexican parties. And, sometimes the Mexican parties are more like disco-ish kind of, but then they also play hip hop. So it's one of those.
They play all the Micmac records, all the Johnny O and
they play all the freestyle, all the freestyles. And so,
He was a DJ of this club, this Latino club. It was all freestyles. Like, oh, finally, my dream! I can play all my freestyle music. So, at what point did you start DJing? Like, when did you really like? I'm into it. Like, I'm gonna keep doing this.
So I was telling you, like, again, grew up doing three of the four elements of hip hop. Got my own, it was in the DJ group, got kicked out, or, well, they tell me it's fun because they say, we're breaking up. We're going to, we're not going to stop DJing. So, okay. And then found out they just started another name and shit like that. I was like, fuck that. And then eventually I got with some good friends, well, not friends, but we became friends and stuff and became a DJ group, which eventually was my main mobile DJ group, which originally first was called Beats Per Minute.
Okay.
And then eventually, it became bigger, it became Double Platinum.
Double Platinum, yeah, I remember seeing that. So, do you still talk to those other guys that kicked you out?
No, I don't. I mean, I do see them here and there, but there's an interesting thing too, because it's like, at one point, I know I'm fast forwarding things.
Yeah, no.
Like I say, like the late 80s, almost early 90s, DJing kind of like it was stopped, like became not really popular.
Yeah.
Right. And, a lot of them, well, it's interesting as things were, how the Filipino parties eventually become hotel parties and become like, when people thought it got to a certain degree, people either become dancers or become rappers. I mean, not rappers. The Asian scene, there was not really no rappers, right? I mean, graffiti artists, but more dancers.
Yeah.
Right? Thing like that. But then in terms of the scene industry, it was shifting towards more for the rappers instead of the DJs, especially when K-Day went off the air.
Yeah.
Right?
And DJs kind of got pushed to the side a little bit.
Right.
Yeah,
so, and then, and then everybody says, and, this is where, like, I still wanted to scratch, I wanted to, buy records and stuff. And everybody thought DJing was played out.
Yeah, there was years where it just kind of like it was very stagnant.
Right.
Yeah, until like I would say
By
like the DMCs like
90, 91, because DMC was always going, still
it was
going
still
on.
going, yeah.
But what's interesting was just like it went underground. Like, you know, again, this is I think kind of like the formation of the Junkies, because I was meeting people. You know, like I met J Rock. Just I would hear him through
just through friends and
so actually through the guys from Mixwell. So Mixwell is originally from Cerritos. So we know that.
Oh, that's right.
We knew them. And they were working at a print shop and stuff like that. And they would ask us to DJ. They would throw parties. They used to be called Junk. And they used to say, hey, we do their parties. And then you tell us like, hey man, we have a boy named J Rock you need to check out from Orange County. He would go the same thing. You need to check out, boy Curse and Rhettmatic and shit like that. That's
So is that kind of how you guys started forming Beat Junkies?
Yeah, well, I mean, we just started
because so Curse had his
he had a public image, but eventually, so here's the thing. It was like, so at one point, everybody, like, since this kind of, you were around for it, because sometimes I don't really talk about this thing. Yeah. So I mean,
it's like during like when they would throw those United Kingdoms.
Yeah. Right. So there's this group called United Kingdom, which is basically a conglomeration of 3 or 4 groups. It's Public Image, Double Platinum, Ultra Dimensions, which is I was telling my man Nilo, older OG and stuff, and Majestics from LA. So before then, there was this group called Spectrum.
Spectrum, yeah.
So Spectrum I call Spectrum.
Oh man, I haven't heard that in so long.
Spectrum is like the Filipino version of Uncle Jam's Army. So they're like this guy named Jimmy Corpus. We used to throw these hotel parties at the Hyatt in LA and stuff. So it was like
those were huge.
Those were huge for as a Filipino thing. For the Asian, Spectrum was like the Asian version or the Filipino version of Uncle Jam's Army.
Yeah.
Uncle Jam Army, if people don't know, is like Egyptian Lover, rest in peace to Roger Clayton. They're the ones that brought actually, they're the first one, the first, I would say DJ group dance promotion. They were the ones that brought all the rap groups out here,
Yeah.
I mean, they would bring, they do sports arena and stuff. So, obviously they were those were the guys, that's the shit. Yeah. But then it's when Spectrum came around, it was like, oh, if you got on their part, the name of the party. So
with Spectrum, they were like a group, but then they would or that was like the event, and then they had different
DJs.
Yeah,
well, they had their own DJs, but then they also get other DJs
from like a whole list of like different groups.
So if you look, like I was talking about, like the Latino scene, if you see the flyers, they have those party flyers with everybody, like 100 promoters and 100 DJs, 100 party crews. So it was kind of like that. Yeah. Right. But the difference is it was
you get like 15 minutes set or something.
So Spectrum. So this guy named Jimmy Corpus, who started Spectrum, he was the main guy that threw the events, but then he had his own DJ crew. I mean, his line of DJs, and then of course he'll get his thought was like, I'm gonna get the hottest DJ from this city, this hottest DJ, and put him on one lineup and stuff like that.
And I'm gonna get all that same crowd. I'm gonna get their crowd.
Yes, to come. Yeah. Right. So that became that was like the thing. Ice is where that's how I met Ice, is because he was DJing. He was young. He was actually kind of younger.
Yeah.
And he was, but the craziest thing that he was part of Spectrum. So I was kind of like,
oh, that's right, yeah.
So I was kind of like, huh?
But he was like the younger cat from Spectrum, right?
Yeah. There was other cats too, but he was the coming up prodigy and stuff like that. There was another cat named who's come from Cerritos. His name is Tom Corpus, not related to Jimmy. He was part of the promotion team for Spectrum, had a fallout, and then he started like, I wanted to get, this is how United Kingdom. So after a point when the mobile DJing scene was kind of like, it was different, it was changing and stuff. Mm-hmm. His idea was like, I'm gonna get the best 3 DJ crews from Cerritos, and then I know Majestics, they're doing their thing, and we're gonna form United Kingdom, and that's how United Kingdom. So Spectrum kind of like. He formed in the group just to show Spectrum, like I
don't need you guys, like I'm good.
Yeah, right. So they
check out what I'm doing.
Yeah, so that's how we all got together. It's like, hey, why do we need to go through Spectrum when we can do our own thing?
Yeah.
And then eventually, so Spectrum would be the first phase. I guess United Kingdom would be the phase. And then eventually when United Kingdom, it got to a point where it got, like some type of ceiling. Everybody was kind of like, oh, I don't want to do this, right? And this is where this is around this time we met Jay. Jay would come to the United Kingdom parties and DJ with us and stuff. But then everybody's like, for me already, I was like, I don't want to do this for shit. I want to go out and really go to the hip hop shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is where when I start hearing like, oh, you need to go to really Hollywood. You got to go Hollywood Live. You got to go to Paradise 24.
Yeah,
you got to go to United Nations. You got to go to Funk Jungle. This is
Funk Jungle, yeah.
Right. So this is like, there was other things. There was this Rob Harris, this guy named Rob Harris who used to throw Artist Network, I think. That was a big thing. He used to throw parties too. There was different parties and shit like that. But, it was funny. I was talking to J-Rock about this stuff. Like, when you go to certain parties, you can't dress up with shoes. You have to... you have to wear, not a suit, but you have to tuck in your shirt. Oh. You can't wear tennis shoes. You can't wear baseball caps, right? Yeah. So it was a dress code thing, right?
Yeah, so I kicked out of a club once because I wasn't tucked in. My shirt
right. But when you hear about, when we start hearing about, like United Nations and Funk Jungle and Water the Bush and stuff, it's like, yo, this is where all the real shit's at. And we figured out I was in LA. It's like, fuck this shit, let's go there. So that was the start of just going to those things, and then just
started experiencing it. Like,
it's the same thing. It's the same thing like we were saying about Philippines. You go to different cities to go to Filipinos. Now this time we're like, you starting to look, like you're trying to look for where's the shit to go to, right? And then you hear, you start hearing, you get flyers or whatever. And then there certain magazines like Herb magazines. You start
Herb was huge.
Yeah, you start whatever you can get. It's one of those things. You start.
Now, were you going to the clubs because of the music, or were you going because of the dancers, or
everything,
right?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything.
Like I knew some people would go just because that was like, you want to see good dancing, you want to see where it's at, like this is it. Or people would be like, hey, you got to listen to like the DJ, like they're playing all like shit, like.
Oh no, I want to go.
But it was kind of like a mix. Like you go there, like, well, this is like the legit, like this is the next movement right now.
Because like you see like Skate One, rest in peace, CBS crew. You see Rob One and shit. Like you see all the graffiti, like the graffiti artists, right? And you eventually see Hex and Slick and stuff like that, right? Then you would see Africa Islam with
these are all the people that I'm reading about in my magazine now. They're all here, and
that's what I'm saying. This is when you're just like, oh shit. And then you'll see, damn,
like I found it. This,
right. And you just like then you look at, because here's the thing, and I always say this is that in the West Coast, Asians, especially Filipinos, have been involved in the hip hop culture. I'm only talking about for West Coast or LA thing. You never heard anything about in the East Coast or whatever. But as long as I remember, it was always they've been involved one way or another.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So, but then what I noticed is that when you're in, like LA's big, and then there's the whole scene is it's a bubble.
Yeah.
Right. So some people are comfortable just to be the big fish in this, and then, for some of us, it was just like, we want to go to where the real shit's at.
Yeah.
So you had to break out, and that was a big thing too. Is like, because when you go there were not that many Asians.
Yeah.
And if there was, it's like, it's rare, and it's like it's one of the things you're just like, who's this other? What you know about
what are you guys doing here?
Right.
Yeah, you like hip hop, and you're not hip hop.
You're right, exactly. And then I remember going there. There were very few. I remember it was the first time seeing Yutaka.
Oh,
DJ Yutaka. So a lot of people don't know about Yutaka. Is from Japan. One of the first OG DJ. It was under, Got Down with Zulu Nation was spinning over at Water the Bush, and his claim to fame was like he battled Jam Master Jay.
Shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah. We were talking. I remember talking about it, and he was telling me, it's like, yo, man. I was like, but I remember it was like seeing him, and then Honda, right?
Oh yeah.
Honda was, like, and then of course, and then there was a cat named Emperor Al who was a Filipino cat, was a promoter. He's the one that threw Funk Jungle.
Okay.
And he was also part of Zulu Nation. So it was kind of like,
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So it was like, there was very, like, again, very, very, and eventually, so us coming from Cerritos and just like, well, not all Filipino, but like, it would be J-Rock, myself, or Rich One, or Rec. And, we all, like, it was us, like the rest of us, like the other homies, and like, they want to go. We're just like, fuck, we're all going.
Yeah.
Right. And then eventually, of course, Rich one was like, he's a graph artist, but he's also a dancer. So it was Rec and shit like that, So of course you see Soul Brothers, you see Scheme Team, you would see Dynamite Soul, you see Clubhouse, or you see Tribal, or whatever Black Eyed Peas were called at the time and shit. Like, you would see cats in the circles and shit. And then of course you would see, you would see like Def Jeff or De La Soul, Ice-T, Donald D, and, tripping out with like, what? Grandmaster Cass and Prince Whimper Whip? Oh shit, like just seeing that, and you see like, like again, like Skate or Hex doing pieces and shit like that, right? That was, like, this is, like you said, this is it.
This is it. This is what I've been looking for.
Right. And then when you go back to say, the whatever.
Your neighborhood, and you're like, I was here. And they're like,
Right. Or you go to Asian scene, because they're all in it, but they only see what, like whatever. But then it's like, you just like.
There's more out there, guys. There's more.
Yeah, right. But then at the same time, it's like, well, shit, there's girls here. So, no girls there. But it was like, that was a whole, when you go to that scene, that's a whole different thing versus like, you go when you go
to the club girls and they're just dressed up and like they're not looking to dance. They just want to look pretty.
They look pretty, but they dance to hip hop. So it was interesting. So again, it was an interesting time because everything was mashing.
Yeah,
right.
Everything was boss. That whole movement was huge. Like at that point, anyone that really got into it would go there.
Right. So
any of those clubs. Yeah.
So anyways, going back, you said when did I really want to DJ? Is just like again, there's like during high school got. I started, get the mobile DJ group, but then like, I guess like when I graduated and, like around 80, when I started discovering also, I mean, I heard about the DMCs, but when I started seeing videotapes, like not even bootleg videotapes.
Yeah, it's always bootleg.
Like the first, I remember this is Curse has this. Curse was always had a lot of shit. He was like, he had the videotape of this New Mix Seminar, 1987 New Mix Seminar. And I remember seeing, it was crazy, and it was Ice-T's footage. It's a
is it the
it's the one with the Cash Money and Joko.
Yeah,
that's my, anyways, that was that tape,
my copy was like all fuzzy.
Yeah, same thing, right? But he was the one, that was the first time I seen the seminar battle, like this. Like I heard about it, music, but it was like, but I was like, you got this shit? Because he had connected, so, and that's when I was like, I want to, like, I mean, I was ready DJing, but it's like, I know exactly what I want to do as a DJ now.
Like, this is it. Thanks for showing me, guys. Like, now I'm set.
Yeah. So that's just like, kind of like, but this is like, so it's a 86, 87.
That's what did it for you. You're like, yep, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in. I mean, again, I was DJing already, but that was like, okay, I need a really...
Yeah, everyone started off, just mixing records, doing house parties. Right. But once you start seeing the battles, it was like, well, you can do this and that. Yeah, all those. And it was always bootleg tapes.
I mean, with combination of that, and of course hearing Tony G, Julio G, this is like, the thing is, you only get to hear... you only get to hear the your heroes, but you never get to play. You might see a glimpse of this, but when you saw something that's just like... It's the same thing when I saw Kerr scratching... I was like, I want to do that. But that kind of like, it's just like all these progressions of like, okay.
Yeah.
It lead me
step one, step two. Yeah. Just little stepping stones. Like, yeah.
And then by like, say, when I got into college, it's like DJing, like I was kind of, I was still kind of like drawing and doing some pieces and stuff, but DJing was more my calling, really. So
yeah, you just leaned to that and
yeah.
And then, I saw in your drawing. It's good, man. I saw your shit, man. You should still draw.
I don't draw no more. I have.
Who would you take in college? What did you want to do?
I was gonna go to art center.
Oh, really?
I was really gonna go to art center for graphic design.
Was that like your backup? Like, okay, so during this time, what did your parents think? Were they like, maybe you should put music on the side, or were you?
Well, I mean, I was doing music just because still it was right, but they didn't think I was gonna do it seriously. Yeah. Drawing was my first love and stuff, but because when I went to Saturday High, this program in art center called Saturday High.
Oh, you went? I always wanted to. I didn't know about it until like years later. Yeah.
So I went to it and it was cool, but then I just realized there was like, well, you got to eat, drink, sleep, art. And I was like, wait, I want to have time to DJ? I want to have time. And I was like, and then when I do like whatever assignments, I put all my, go all out. Yep. And then you had to put on a critique board, and then
Oh, and then they bash it in front of you?
Oh, dude, it was so... every time.
They were harsh, right?
They were very harsh. It started becoming not any fun.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like that's how I kind of fell out of love of drawing, because it wasn't starting to be fun.
Yeah. That'll do it.
And then,
so did you, at what point you're like, well, I don't want to go to art school anymore?
Yeah, it was when I'm sure, I mean, are we skipping questions and stuff like that?
No. This is all part of it. It's all part of your life path.
I mean, what really made me say, okay, I'm going to go for it really is when the opportunity was to start Brotherhood Creed.
That's right, Brotherhood.
So so there's a group. This is a group that was in the 90s.
Saw
90s.
you on Soul Train.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking like, Rhett's gonna be on there, man.
Yeah, that was
Brotherhood Creed.
Yeah, so this is a group. So the lead rapper is from Cerritos as well. So and then my best friend and who's also the I guess the hype man or whatever, it was from Cerritos too. His name's Ty. You might,
I remember Ty.
Tyrone Ward, Ty, Shy Ty, or we call him Tyrone Maximum or Ty Capone, whatever.
So you guys were friends.
I was Ty was like one of my best friends, because it was fun. It was funny too, because we were coming up. We were he would it was funny. Even I would be with the hang out with the Asian groups, and he was in front with the brothers and stuff like that. But everybody knows each other. But you know how it is. Sometimes but we met in class, in a typewriting class, and we just kind of like, hey, you like
hip hop? I like hip hop, yeah.
And we were both shy. So so we kind of like we connected on it. We found out like, okay, we were both shy. We liked hip hop. We were both only childs too as well.
Oh,
so so we bonded on just a lot of things, and so we
that's cool.
Of course, he became also part of the our mobile DJ group. But then the opportunity. So one of the guys from our from Double Platinum, he had an older sister that was going out with a DJ producer that does disco music. He was part of the Latino.
Oh, okay.
Right. But then he was doing hip house too as well, right? But then eventually he's like, I'm gonna try this hip hop shit. You know any rappers? So the people that I would kind of know personally, they're like, okay, like Arabian Night, he's doing his own, it became Psycho and whatever right there. Another rapper stopped and stuff, and then there's another rapper didn't really work, and then this guy named Sean, his MC name is The Mac, but Sean, his real name is Sean McDuffie. He was also one of the baddest poppers, in Cerritos and shit like that. But we found out he also rap, and he was like, oh, he's one of the dopest rappers too. So, and Ty was good friends with him. Say, hey man, you think he'd be interested? I don't know him personally, but you think can connect and stuff. Brought him, met him with, brought him to meet with the producer and stuff like that, and because I did scratches for some of his hip house stuff like that. And then he made a beat that eventually became Helluva, and the demo.
Okay, so he's the one who made it. Okay.
And then the lead MC, he actually, Sean, he wrote it, made a demo, and that's actually, and then he shopped the demo to all these labels, and next it got signed to Gasoline Alley MCA, and that's how
awesome,
like that. Then he didn't want to be soloist. It's like, let's be, like Ty, you come in here, you can be the DJ and shit like that. It's like, word, okay, and then. Originally, the group was supposed to be called Brotherhood Crusade, but there was a like a ACLU type group called Brotherhood Creed. So you had to change from Brotherhood Crusade to Brotherhood Creed, and then that's how.
Now, when you were in that group, you changed your DJ name.
I didn't want to change my DJ name.
Did they make you change it?
You did. So, because
I remember looking at it, I was like, wait a second, hey, what happened? Yeah. What happened to your name?
Yeah. So that's the crazy thing. So I know. Hey, well, so
I'll let you tell them.
Yeah. So the lead rapper also was good friends with Scratchmatic.
Okay.
So he, it's like when when RHETTMATIC, man, I don't want to call you RHETTMATIC because it reminds me of Scratchmatic. And I was like that, we got to change your name, man. I was like, oh man, dude. It's like, next, it's like, you're Nazzy Pops, because my name was Nazareth. Like, you look like a pop. Nazzy Pops. Oh, oh man, I didn't like it. It's like, if you want to be in a group, you got to change. All right.
So now you're Nazzy Pops.
I was Nazzy Pops, but I was still RHETTMATIC outside of Brother Crew,
everyone,
right?
Yeah, everyone knew.
Right. But I was like, I was like, man, all right, I guess if I have to do.
And is that the only time you've used Nazzy Pops?
Being in that group.
Yeah, being there.
Yeah.
And after that, you're like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, how long did you guys hang around? Like, you guys did about a couple of years?
I mean, a year or two.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like, pretty quick. I mean, it was a lot of things. I did a lot of things. When that opportunity came up, that was okay, let me try to do this. I mean, I was trying.
Yeah, because like you say, you go and like do a tour, right? You guys would go around.
I mean, well, it was funny because it was funniest thing. It was like they were doing shows. I couldn't go on the road yet because I was going to Cypress College.
At the same time. Okay.
At the same time. So I was like, I got to graduate. I was doing the 4-year plan at a community college and shit like that. But
hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Right. So when I get my associate's degree, then I can go full force.
Okay.
So, but they were doing a lot of things. So when I eventually got my associate's degree,
so you did it.
I went. I got. I'm gonna try to do this thing, and that's when go on Soul Train. Went to the New Week seminar. Did go on the road with Mary J. Blige and Nice and Smooth.
Oh really? Oh, nice.
Met a lot. I mean, met the Baker Boys and shit through when they were living in Bakersfield. Like they did a remix for Hell of a this is the craziest thing. Met Julio G when he was DJing for Gerardo.
Oh yeah, okay, all right.
Right. So I mean, but it was like I remember it's like when I met Julio G, I was like, yo, you understand, dude? You're K-Day Mix Master. And he was like,
Tony G.
You and Tony G. And he like I would it was in Seattle when they had their own power jam, whatever you call it, and shit like that. So met Nice and Smooth, the same thing too. And it's like I told him like, yo, because it's Greg Nice, dude. I know you, dude. You used to beatbox for Tila Rock. He's like, oh shit. He was like, yo, shit. Yo, Smooth.
You know this, yeah.
He's like, do you know when you're doing fucking beatbox?
You earned their respect with that.
Yeah.
Just opened up some doors like, hey, let's talk to you. Yeah,
me and Ty, we were fans still. We were like geeking out. And like, the lead rapper's like, oh, I'm cool. But like, fuck that. We're We did a KML Summer Jam. And it was crazy that on the same bill on there, TLC,
oh wow,
Tribe Called Quest, Pete Rock and CL Smooth, DOS Effects. This is like 91, 92. So just imagine being in Ty and I would just be backstage and seeing Five Dog, Q-Tip, CL Smooth, and whoever playing basketball and shit.
We're just hanging out.
Just hanging out, dude. Were
they cool? Was everyone pretty cool?
We didn't know how to.
Too starstruck, like
they were like,
there's some dudes over here staring at us. Yeah,
we were just like, fuck, and shit like that. Same thing too. It was like,
yeah, but just the experience.
The experience that was like
was worth it, right?
It was that, but it's also like learning it the hard way. It's like, I got let go from the group too because just certain like they at the time. So here. Let me see if I can pull it out.
Okay.
So that is the show instrumentals, but it's acetate.
Is it really?
It's acetate. So you only can play it a few times
before it gets
so they made it. That's why. I mean, of course, I didn't know you'd know about test pressings. They just making acetate, right? Yeah. So what happens is like, and it's a combination of just things were going wrong.
92,
right? But then every time I play it, and if the needle skip, they blame me because the needle,
Yeah, you're the DJ, and like, why are you doing that?
Right, and I'm like, I'm not. It's just like
this is a.
Yeah, so I mean, shit. So
they let you go.
That was one of their So
no more Nazzy Pops.
Thank goodness. At first, were you
kind of happy? Were you kind of relieved?
Well, first it was like kind of like on some. Well, Ty and I would really wanted to make some dope shit.
More, yeah.
Like that. Like. We want to be on some De-La shit, right? De-La soul shit, right? Because we like there's so much potential of it, right? And like I said, the lead rapper he's an incredible lyricist, but then I guess when you see the lights and money, and he had his own way, and he was the leader per se. Ty and I were even trying to make beats. We were starting to learn how to. I remember when Ty got the MPC 60, we were trying to learn how to do that shit, and it's like.
So that's about the time. That's gonna be my next question. When did you start getting into production? About that?
Okay, so obviously after the Brotherhood Creed thing got, after that kind of went down. I mean, it's interesting because around the same time, I became part of Rocksteady Crew.
Oh, that's right.
As part of the Rocksteady Crew LA chapter, and
how did that work? Because I remember when there's a few people that are part of Rocksteady. They were like, how does that happen?
So, I mean,
Like, you're like legit now, like once you become part of Rocksteady, like in everyone, like in our eyes, we were like, hey, Rhett's in Rocksteady. We're like, oh shit.
So it's interesting. I mean, like I said, a lot of things, when I told you, you go, also during the time, there's the hip hop shop, right?
Yeah,
Hex, right?
yeah.
So the word got out that, the Legs was coming out to town.
Oh shit.
Doze was living out here already in
Okay.
LA. I forgot what company he was working with and stuff. So, and then Zulu Gremlin, he was real tight at the time with Crazy Legs and shit like that. So, and of course, there's a lot of things happening. Like, this is when Qbert, Mike, and Apollo, they won the worlds and stuff, and they became, the Rocksteady DJ. So they were the Rocksteady, so the word got out that Legs was trying to build Rocksteady crew West Coast and shit, whether they're LA, San Francisco, whatever, like that. So the word got out. Meet at the hip hop shop. So whoever, and you kind of did like, it was almost like, I wouldn't say a trial run per se, but you also meet, you start meeting different people. Like, that's where I actually met, I would hear about Rob One. I met Rob One there.
Oh.
Now,
during this time, this is all like just word of mouth, people calling each other, like maybe a flyer.
There was flyers out, but there was like, again, it's just one of those.
There's no social media. So this is all just personal connections somehow.
Word of mouth, and you just know, so like, again, like, so Easy Rock, one of the greatest B-boys, of our generation and stuff like that. He's originally from Winter Park. So
is he really?
Yeah, he's from Winter Park.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So he would know. He would like kind of even told us too and stuff like, yo, man, you should go in there. That's also how I met Rock Hour of Science. Him and Ev, they were known as the Fatliners.
The Fatliners,
right?
yeah.
Obviously like Easy Rock, Zulu Gremlin. At one point, there was a big thing, but then eventually, Air Force, we don't want to be underneath, so there's a thing. So, and there was a thing too, like if you want to be Rocksteady DJs, you got to battle Qbert, and then it was like, oh shit, they go like what?
Was that part of it? I didn't know that.
It was like, it's like, holy
so did you
shit.
guys have to battle?
No, we eventually
they just kind of said that.
We just kind of like bonded and shit like that.
It's just like brotherhood of.
It's just kind of like
people.
we found out like we know certain same people and shit. So Rich One was also a Rocksteady crew. J Rock was also Rocksteady crew.
Oh, was it really? Oh,
yeah. I mean, it was crazy because it got to a point where it's like if you pull out that record right there, that's the first battle. Well, there was obviously the shots to the Bulletproof Scratch Hamsters. They actually kind of one of the first the official scratch records, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, you had Cameron Paul and you had the bits and pieces and shit like that. But there's this. But this record right here, obviously, this is Qbert's records. His first Battle Break records. And if you look closely,
it's Rich.
Rich One did this. NASA crew,
style.
and he was also part of Rocksteady because this is how he met. He was part, and showed them their shit. It's like, oh, so Rich did, so.
Dude, I remember this. I remember everybody bought this.
Spy One from the Bay did this one, but Rich did the
cover. Yeah, you always know Rich's style with all the twisting and turning.
Yeah, and if you look at this,
test press. Still good of course you got the test press.
Yeah.
Oh, well, dude, these are clean too.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to ruin them.
Yeah. So Q, obviously, because it came, tied with Q and Mike and Apollo.
Do people still mark their records? We used to do this all the time, because you kind of had to.
Mm-hmm.
And then records would go missing. Then you'd go to a party, and then all of a sudden you would see like your record getting played, and you're like, "Hey, where'd you get that record from?"
Yeah.
Remember those days?
People sneak, like I'm like, I accidentally put it in there.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah. So, but so this it's interesting because we're part of Rocksteady crew and stuff like that, and then I eventually left Rocksteady crew, and then Junkie started. That's how
the Junkies out of Rocksteady.
Junkies not necessarily, well, because there was just a lot of politics and all that stuff. Like just kind of like what, let me just step away. And then Jay said that I've always wanted to have my own crew, and the rest is history.
So who was the original members of Beat Junkies?
Jay, Curse, myself, Mello, and then eventually it'd be Ice and What and Symphony.
Symphony, yeah,
so,
sister, right?
So a lot of people don't know that we had a female member in the Junkies. Yes, that's Ice's younger sister, and she was like one of the first female battle. I mean, I wouldn't say female first. I mean, I guess Battle DJ as a woman.
Yeah,
she
was the first one that I saw scratching.
Yeah,
first girl.
She got inspired because we showed her the seminar battle between Cash Money and Jazzy Joyce.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we said, if you can do, see how she's doing. She almost took out Cash Money. She would always. It's funny because Ice would used to, like older brother, younger.
Yeah.
Do this, like that. And so she would kind of practice on her own and shit until one time I went to go to Ice's house and he wasn't there, but she was, and the next thing, like, do that again. What?
Oh.
And Ice didn't know that she was practicing and shit. Then we was like, yo, man, Marie, we're doing this like that.
Yeah.
So we started like, kind of took her under our wings and stuff. Start showing this. You're like, yo, show this, watch this, watch this, do this, learn this, da. And that's all, and then Ice was like, what?
Yeah.
I want to say, I think I gave her name, Symphony.
Oh, did you?
Because she know how to play the piano. So it's like, Symphony.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. So, but yeah, yeah.
Now, so you guys form, that's right before you go to DMC. Then, or right about the same time before you go to the DMC battles?
No. Well, actually, before that, even before the Junkies were formed, this is right when the Curse and Jay were actually, they actually entered the West Coast DMC Championship. This is when the team started.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, Q, Mike, and Apollo won and shit like that. But they were in the battle.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. They were, ironically, they were called Chaos.
Yeah.
Right? So,
nice.
Yeah, so but they
tried.
They tried out. They didn't, obviously.
Yeah.
So this is like that. This is precursor to Junkies.
Yeah,
and like that. So but and then when the Junkies started, and it's like okay, eventually because the same thing. Like I would hear of course I already knew Ice and stuff like that, but Mello, he's also a little bit younger and stuff like that. I would we would hear about this is Cat and Cerritos and what?
Yeah.
Like that. So same thing, go to house. He was doing a house party and showed up. See what you got. Next I was like, fuck.
Yeah, right.
Holy shit. How long you been DJ now? Make me kind of like, okay, I gotta go.
Step my game up.
Yeah, like that. Just because I've been doing it long doesn't mean shit now like that. Like I was like, oh damn. So and it was interesting because he would say, like I watch you and Curse DJ and shit like that. So it was
nice.
But then seeing someone like okay, he's like, okay. And,
step my game up a little bit.
That, it's, there's someone local here. But then, of course, here and seeing Q and Mike. And then eventually, because also being part of Rocksteady, you heard about the X-Men?
Yeah.
Check this out, man.
Like, what? Like a whole different.
Yeah. Because everybody in the DJing things, after Aladdin, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And then, of course, people didn't really they knew either you knew about Steve D or you didn't. Yeah. Right. And it was kind of one of those things. It's like, oh shit. But some people are like, they stick to the old school stuff. Yeah. You're starting to see the shift about things like that, So, and then when you found out like, yo, Steve D is the one that started the X-Men, like it was like, oh shit. And, like you heard about Exotic E from, like you put him in and then you said like, oh, this and this and this. And it's like, and then then you started about hearing the X-Men. This is when, and then eventually after lefting the Rocksteady, and then Junkies were made, and it was interesting. So still, and during that time, still was still talking to Q and shit like that, like that. And then like I met Short at a battle. Like
I did. Okay.
Well, the funniest thing I remember seeing Short. So kind of backtrack, when Jay and myself and Rich One were still part of Rocksteady crew and along with Rec, they were doing the Rocksteady anniversary at the same time as the Nuke seminar.
Oh yeah.
Right? And and we're like, fuck, we gotta, like all Rocksteady members need to come over here. You're like, shit, how are we gonna get there?
Yeah, right.
we bought a Greyhound bus.
Did you take the bus?
Took us 2.5 days to get there. And 2.5 days to get back. Oh, we were mashing. And
but you went.
We went, dude. We experienced a lot of things. I remember like Far Side performing first time.
Oh.
Yeah, seeing Lord Finesse dissing Lords of the Underground.
Yeah.
Artifacts. They just seeing. There was a lot of things going on. Finally when they went to go check out the battle. I was kind of doing some reporting for. It was at the hip hop hotline or hip hop 411. I was watching it and call, you had to call, like, I would do one for Big Boy. Big Boy used to have you call in, you just leave the, like, this is what's going on, like that.
Yeah.
So I'd kind of be the reporter per se. And I got passes to go inside the thing. And this is when I got to see the seminar battles. Like, okay, I'll get to see it. And this is when I first saw Short. But it's like, all the way from the Philippines, DJ Shortcut.
Was he from the Philippines?
Well, I mean.
Or did he just.
I didn't know him at the time.
Okay.
So when he's like, who's this? What, Philippines? I was like, oh shit. That was like, first I was like, oh shit. Like, oh fuck. It's like another place. Like, because you want to, it's like, it's kind of like say, dude, you want to be the first Mexican or first. You know what I'm saying? But you just like, you can't.
You're just wishing a little bit.
Right. But, I remember, and then so fast forward, like a couple of months later, I entered my first battle called Unfadable at the Glam Slam. And then, I was walking in. I remember a van, one of those airport vans coming out the van was Short.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, you're Shortcut. Like, he was in, Pickles aren't even in it. He was not even like, not even in the rock steady. He's just like, it's like, oh shit, yeah. I was like, I saw you there. It's like, oh man, I'm in the battle. He's like, shit, I'm in the battle too. And it was crazy because like, it was Short, myself, J-Rock was in it, Fatbox, Viciously, and this cat named Sweet Pea, and shit like that. So we were in a battle. Eventually, it was funny because Jay got in an argument with the Light Man. The Light Man sabotaged him and shit like that.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was funny because the video, like Mello was giving him records and shit, like that, But I. Eventually, so Short one. Yeah, I mean, because I would tell him like, yo, man, I even tell like Curse and like, yo, man, this is Filipino cats doing these jungle shit, dude. Like, like he's doing doing like the X-Men are doing. Really? Like, dude, I'm telling you. So he won. I got second place. So, and it was crazy because I know Mark Lowe was judging, Tony G and Egyptian Lover.
Oh, yeah, that's some legit judges.
Well, I mean, we didn't know them at the time, though, so I didn't know Mark. Well, I met Mark, started Mark around, but that was a big thing. So that's how I met Short. And then through Short, I met D. I used to hear about D through the Filipino grapevine and shit, because you hear, shout outs to my man, Big Abe, body, I don't know, what's his, Abe, he's the bodyguard for all the import models. I forgot his nickname. Big Abe and shit. So I know Abe since he went to Cypress College and shit like that. And at one point, he used to live in the Bay Area because he's originally from Long Beach. But then he was like, yo, my man Dave Casito, but he called him D-Styles. You should check him out. And I used to hear his mixes. And I was like, oh shit, okay. And then when I found, then when Short started, like after the battle, exchange numbers and shit like that, Short would come down and then he brought D and says like, yo, man, I know about you and stuff. Huh? D's like, really? And then I found out that he knows my cousin and shit like,
Filipino. Yeah.
So it's like, oh shit. Yeah. Like, all right.
One step away.
Like that. And then I brought Short and D to meet like Jay and Curse and Mello and shit like that.
Like, hey, you guys want to be part of our group?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They hanged out. Right? Honestly, really, it was D and Short that showed us. D was the one that showed us how to do the flare. That's how the flare came to LA is because of D. Wow. D showed us how to do flare. I mean, Q showed me. I remember Q would be here, Q and Disc. They try to show it to me. But
and you're like, I don't understand it.
It didn't. It's transform. No, it's not. It's like, but because they were doing.
It's like a backwards transformer, kind of, but.
But because they're also, you got to remember, they're reverse.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Right? Was Dave reverse too?
D's not reverse. Okay. So that's why it made it more easier because he would like.
He would show you, yeah.
I would my nickname for him was the Scratch Scientist because he can break down things to a point where you can understand it because he was saying. So is it transfer? No. So it's basically, he break it down. It's like it's an illusion scratch where you sound instead of having to close fader, you open the fader. Like he just he broke it down. And then he was the one that taught us the flare. Havoc was the first one that kind of got the flare down, and then eventually Mellow, and then then I.W.I.D. and Curse and stuff. Eventually, then down the line,
I remember because I knew our friend Bobby, who you knew.
Oh yeah.
But then his friend was Brian Suji, who was a Japanese guy, and he showed us. Because I think you're probably showing them a flare to both of them.
Right.
And then they came to me like, oh, Rhett was showing us how to flare. And it's like, how do you do it? And they're like, okay, you just do it like this. And I was like, I don't get this. They're like, no, it's like a backwards thing, but you cut it off, but you don't. And I'm like, I don't think you guys are explaining it right because it doesn't sound right. So, yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's...
So that means D taught you and then D taught me kind of.
He taught it.
He kind of taught it.
I mean, okay. I mean, for me, I'm biased, I guess, because of course, Q's the man, right? But I just think D is the greatest scratcher in
so
the universe.
Technical, yeah.
But it's the way how he does things. Because I remember when we started going out hanging over there, I remember he gave me third shot, rhymes like a scientist, like this, just. It's interesting. So a lot of people don't know that D and Short were beat junkies before there were scratch pickles.
That's right. That's crazy.
Right. So
it's crazy because you think about it, they're like, oh yeah, scratch pickles.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, because the Bay Area and shit like that. But it's like they were junkies before. Short was repping junkies before. I remember when he started to become pickles per se is when the bomb show over at during the Gavin seminar in Frisco. Is when after Mike and Q, the Dream Team won and performed, and they asked Short to jump on with them and open up for them and stuff like that. And it was funny because I was with them and
oh really? Oh, okay.
Short was like, yo, because we were there for the Gavin. Short goes like, yo man, Q and Mike has asked me to. I was like, fuck, I'll roll with you. I just remember the whole thing and shit. Just so
you were there.
I was there when they just got back and shit. Like, oh shit, it's like it's weird.
Good set, guys. Is that what you said?
No, man. I just like, you guys fucking killed it. No, but it was the funniest thing because I see this again. I still call him. I remember Mike I talked to Mike when he was just made up the tweak scratch, and this is about he was he was going to defend his title against 8 Ball or whoever was going to win the seminar. So obviously 8 Ball won, and then Mike and 8 Ball had a battle and shit like that. Because before that, when Mike won the year before. He had to go against a DJ Supreme and shit like that. But that was like same thing. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just like you call on the phone like, hey, how did you do this? Is that like we played tapes? Like the old school.
This whole thing. Yeah, that's how you do it. But that was cool though that you guys were all sharing.
Yeah. I mean, because because at the same time people were just like there's. DJing wasn't really as cool as it used to be, so that was the connection of that.
It's like, oh, we're just doing it for fun, and I'm cool. I've met some homies that like to do it too, so let's just hang out.
But of course, it's like, damn, at first you're like, because like to me, this is the interesting part. Again, Curse was like my Q, right? But Q happened to be the one that actually broke out this,
Yeah.
You talk about it in terms as a Filipino American, it was just we didn't have, or as an Asian, of course, as Asians or minorities and stuff, the closest one that look like us was Bruce Lee, or maybe Dan Inosanto or whatever, right? If you're lucky, maybe Ernie Reyes Jr. But like that. But music wise or something like, and especially in hip hop,
there was
mostly either Black or Latino, right? And so when you see something like when I really thought about it, I was like, dude, there's someone that looked. This is like. That's the homie. I mean, he eventually became the homie, but he broke out of the circle. I mean, out of the bubble that was like, he was not even respected. Like, first they said, who's this Asian, whatever, now or Chink or whatever, Chinese or whatever. Now it's like, yo, this. They just respect him. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand during during coming up there, again, from what this because each scene was separated. Mm-hmm. But if you go into the real circles, it was all about like you had the skills. They don't care about your colors.
It's just skills.
Your skills.
Yeah, straight up skills.
If you're authentic, you're true to the culture. You're true to the codes.
Yeah,
that's
which was always cool about hip hop. Like hip hop culture, like they didn't care. Like it was
if you're dope,
just
you're
one
dope.
big family.
Yeah. If you're dope, you're dope. If you're whack, you're whack. Yeah. If you're a biter, like that's what I'm saying. It was one of those things. Is like I guess that's I know we're jumping around, but that's, I guess, again, coming out from those times, it was depending where, unless you go to like LA proper and stuff like that, most of the time it's just like everyone was doing it. But then when you really go into the city, it's like, shit, it's mostly Black and Latinos. And it's like, and when they see something, when you go to LA, they know you ain't from here.
Yeah.
So it's like, so yeah, it's crazy.
That's dope, man. I was going to ask you, so you went to DMC.
Eventually, yeah.
So you went to DMC.
Right. Yeah. So when the Junkie started and, meaning eventually like, starting, like, okay, I think it's time, like.
Now it's time to.
Yeah. Like, because, you would watch battles. You would be that type of guy, like.
I can do that.
You'd be on the sidelines. And I realize, for me personally, I realize who am I to talk shit if I'm on the sidelines?
Right.
Unless, because it's like.
To put up or shut up, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it got to a point, because I started seeing other people talking shit, but then they're like, they ain't doing nothing. It's like, fuck that.
I'm going to go do it.
I'm going to go do it.
Now, did anybody join up with you when you joined?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, so obviously my first battle was done fatal and was short. Yeah. And then my second battle was in Santa Barbara, and it was interesting. It was like a Filipino clubs from different colleges battle. I just said Cypress College, even though there didn't no Filipino club and shit like that. So, and this is where I met Babs.
Up there.
Because Babs is originally from Oxnard, Camarillo, Oxnard.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
And that's how I met. I remember meeting Babs. He was in the battle, and he was also hanging out with Rome's Luke Pack.
Okay.
DJ Rome's, so I didn't know, Short was a judge, Mel, and there's Babs says this, like he would heard about like, RHETTMATIC and Rocksteady Crew and shit like that, like something like that, like so.
And the Rocksteady Crew, that name goes a long way, man.
Well, of course, man, shit. But I mean, eventually, I made it to the finals between me and Babs Babs won.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Well, I mean.
Yeah, okay.
Rightfully so. He did. I mean, of course my ego was bruised because like, man, I've been doing this, but then again, this is my second battle and shit. So I was like, maybe got to
lose some.
Got to take the lumps, like that. Cause like then my third battle, was Rap Sheet battle.
Oh, you did a Rap Sheet. Okay.
Rap Sheet magazine battle, which also was involved with DMC in some ways. Right. So, Babs was in it, Short was in it, I was in it. I forgot, was Ruthless in it? I forgot. Babs and Short, they got in the semifinals, and I was in the semifinals. And eventually I went against Short. And of course, I lost against Short. I mean, I already know Short. Short was ready to do it. His juggles, my juggles ain't shit.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So, and then from there, Babs wasn't even in the Junkies yet. But he was starting to hang out with us. And then eventually when we said, let's all enter 94 DMC West Coast. And we all mobbed up, Mello was in it, Babs, Short. I was in it, but we were practicing at D-Style's house the night before and I got too high. So you ever watch our podcast? If you ever watch the Junkies, we have Building Better DJ podcast, right? There's a thing we call DJ Fails.
That was one of them.
I watch that episode, talk about it and shit like that. When I talk,
so did you not show up or did you perform?
I took a bong hit. That was D had a big bong, right? Took it, and next I was smoke weed, but I never had a bong. I had small. I had a small bong hit, right? Okay. Oh shit! Hey man, is you supposed to spend? Next I passed out, and then they woke me up and say, "Hey man, it's time to go. We got to go to the battle." I didn't get to practice.
Oh no! Did you perform?
I of course, but
kind of performed. You already knew like this isn't gonna happen. This is not my time this year. So Short won, Babs won second place. Maybe they set you up.
Nah. But it's funny because they didn't. They're like, oh shit, he's fucking high, dude. We gotta shut him up, dude. Or we gotta my mom. Something like D says, my parents upstairs, man. We can't. Whatever. So, but so that's like I remember it's like I lost a couple of battles. So, you know, like I even tried to enter the 95 West Coast again, lost. You know, Babs won that one, going to the finals. So 94, the one who won the USA was, who won the USA? Fuck.
94.
94. I think Raider. Then
Okay.
he became world champion. 95, Babs became West Coast DNC champion. That was a crazy battle because Mello also entered, make second place. So this is the one that it was Babs, Mello, Sinister, and Swamp.
Ooh.
And Swamp won that battle. Came out of nowhere and won that battle.
That when he lit his record on fire. Yeah.
And that year was also the same time, the first time ever. And this is in San Francisco. The first time ever that the X-Men, Pickles, and Junkies. You heard about the warehouse.
Yeah.
That was the night before the battles. We all met at the warehouse and did a secret training, you know, exhibition training session and shit like that.
How was that?
That was crazy.
Is it just like, was everyone cool?
Oh yeah,
everyone was just like, hey, check it out.
This is where like we're not Babs, where Q introduced the crab, I think, with the
really?
like, you know, with amongst us and shit. Everybody was showing everything, you know. They're
wow.
like, yeah. So it was like, you know, it was just like
a little trust
like
circle kind of.
Yeah, it was like a meeting of the minds type shit.
Yeah.
It was crazy because we're fucking, you know, we're tight with Q and Mike, but to see the X-Men and then they're tripping out, like, you know, like, oh shit, you know, like, but then like we're different crews, but it's like when you realize it, like we're the only ones that really are doing shit.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it was that respect to each other.
That respect and like we're. And from
was there just one setup, or was there multiple
it was
tables?
just 4 turntables.
Okay.
You know, just not like as a team, but like 2 setups.
Yeah, 2 sets. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. So everyone's like, you know, juggles and shit and scratches or
just hanging out, just showing. What
and then
you
know, yeah, like that. And so and it was crazy nice. So, Baz was in that battle. Mel was in the battle. Of course, Swamp. And then 96, 97. This was crazy because it was like, I'm going to try one more time. If I don't, that's it. And ironically, I won 96 West Coast DMC battle.
I heard about it, man. We're like,
so it was crazy.
Our boy did it. You're a local hero, man. You did it.
It was interesting, like, because you know now with DMC battles, it's not regional. It's kind of like, you know, you can go to different cities. Before it was only West Coast and East Coast, and then whoever the top 3 go to the U.S. and then of course, so in the history of this. 94, 95, 96, 3 Beat Junkies were West Coast DMC champions.
Oh, that's yeah.
Shortcut was 94. Babs was 95. I was 96. And then Short obviously retired. And then, of course, the Scratch Pickle X-Men battle. And then he came back in 98 to do the USA. He won West Coast and won USA. You know, obviously Craze won that battle and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so.
How'd you do in Worlds?
I didn't do Worlds.
You didn't go?
I mean, I went to USA.
Okay.
And so I won the West Coast and went USA. Oh, it was in New York. It sucks at the time. DMC was so unorganized. Yeah. So this is also I
went in 99 to New York to go watch it. It was very unorganized.
Right.
I was surprised.
Right. So this is when I was talking about 95 about, you know, also with all 3 major crews, right? That's also kind of like the birth of the ITF.
Okay.
International Tournament Federation.
That's right, yeah.
Right? So, you know, so eventually, during that time, DMC was kind of like they were unorganized and shit. You know, I was waiting when they're gonna tell me when is the USA. Never heard anything, whatever, right? And then it's funny. Babs goes, you know, he's entering ITF for the jungling and scratching for USA and shit. And he goes, oh, by the way, guys, you know, like I remember Curse, Mello, myself. We were doing some shows. I think we did one of the first, we started doing some teams. And I think we did B-Boy Summit, I think like that. And then Bab goes, oh, by the way, guys, I entered you guys for ITF USA. What? So if you watch the first ITF USA, you see the teams is Mello, Curse, and myself. And shit, and then Babs and Short. And Babs was in the beat jungling and so we won USA, and he won, you know, USA, and then to go to the Worlds. So when they did the Worlds, originally, the teams was supposed to be Curse, Mello, myself, Babs, and Jay.
Oh, okay.
For whatever reason, Curse dropped out.
Oh, no.
And that's why you see...
You see the 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Where was Worlds held at?
San Francisco.
Ah,
That's the one Vin Rock won.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was... it was us, and it was us, and then for teams, it was us and against the fifth platoon.
Fifth platoon, yeah.
Right, you know. So
you guys won.
Yeah, we won. And so I mean, yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of
of stuff, man.
Yeah. So
going back just a little bit, when Q showed you guys the crab, were you guys like, what the fuck is that? Like, what's he doing?
Well, the
I don't get it.
interesting part, I seen the evolution of it. So I mean, so this is when Mello won the 95 Vestex World Championship in Japan, right? And so I went short Q, Key Kool, because you know, like we Up Above Records, which the Visionaries was signed to, was also you know, they were the U.S. distributors for Vestex at the time and stuff. So there was this cat named DJ XL from the UK. So Mello and XL were like the non Japanese that entered the battle. The rest were mostly Japanese and stuff like that. So I remember XL was like, "Hey man, check out this thing." He called it Twiddle Scratch.
Okay. Yeah.
Q, you know, Q's such a, you know, like, do that again. After that, you know, the Vestex battle and shit, Q went back home and helped it, you know, him, I guess, you know, at the time, him and Disc, you know, they developed it, and that's how the Crab Scratch came out.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so, you know, it's crazy seeing the you know,
just seeing the evolution of it.
You know, just to be in that, it's crazy to think about, like, damn, is witnessing or part of it, whatever.
You're part of that time.
Or,
like,
know,
yeah.
So
it's like one of those magical moments.
Yeah. So I mean, I again, like, I got, you know, like, everyone's saying, "How'd you get a test pressing?" Well, I was Rocksteady Cruise, you know.
Like, damn, you've been around a while, homie.
So it's like,
I thought you all knew who I was. I'm RHETTMATIC.
Like, fuck you.
All right, I'm gonna touch on a couple of things. After this, what came first, you and Key Kool's record, or Visionaries? Or did you guys...
Key Kool and myself.
Yeah, because I remember we got that record and we're like, oh, my boy's like, he's on the record, man. He did it again. And then how did that come about?
So, okay, obviously, a combination of, like, again, Brother Creed, you know, after that, you know, I was working with other, you know, I found out about the SP1200. If you, let me see if I can.
Right there.
Oops. Oh well.
It's kind of tilted up.
Right there, you guys can see that. The SP1200, AMU SP1200. So I got this when they reissue it, 1991. Kind of like after, kind of right after Brother Creed and stuff. I realized, like, I need to learn how to make beats. I knew how to program beats. Like, I learned, so I actually borrowed Curse's Elise's HR16 drum machine, and that's how I learned.
Oh, nice.
That's how I learned how to program, you know,
the beats, like
drums and stuff like that. But, you know, of course, when you heard about sampling, it's like, how do they do this stuff? You heard about of course, learning about the MPC 60. Then you heard about the SP1200. And they heard, like, you know, of course, you start hearing about Marley Marl used this, or Dre used it. Muggs used it for Cypress Hill and shit like that. You just hear, like, all the people that, you know, at the time were like, oh man, Large Professor used this. So that's the machine. I remember seeing it in the Source magazine that they reissued this shit. I was like, I need to get one. I had to sell my BMX bike. I had to do, like, whatever. Of course, my parents told me.
No, not the BMX, man.
Oh yeah, dude.
What'd you have?
I had a GT.
Oh, Pro Performer?
Yeah, I think so. I just remember, but all I remember is, like, as good I did, because I sucked at it. Everybody can do all the curbendos and shit. I couldn't just ride. That's it.
Dude, BMXing was my thing, dude.
But I sucked. I was okay. You know, but so sold that. I did everything.
A good investment,
huh?
A good investment over your BMX, I think.
Oh yeah, because you know how much it cost at the time? $3,000.
Was it really that much?
It was that much.
Oh shit! I didn't even know.
Yeah, it was 3,000.
Oh, no wonder not everyone had it.
Well, back then you really had to be seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to now, you do.
Let me get that app real fast. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
but now it's like I was vowed to get that shit. It's like if I'm gonna really be like at least trying. It was like one of my missions. Is like like when I got let go of the group and just things. I just like, you know what, I got to really step up and just, my mission was like, break out of my shell and show people that, I
just got to do it.
Yeah. So I learned, I got it and learned how to make, and then that's when I started learning how to chop beats and shit like that. Like, I mean, if I'm going to chop some shit, I mean, of course I was doing pause, had the scratch master with, but I was like, dude, if you're going to be really, you got to
like step up your game.
Yeah. So
you just went for it. Like fuck it, I'm
doing it, right? So by the time it's like I was trying to like try to work with MCs and shit, but of course was in jail sometimes.
Yeah.
Eventually, I heard about Key. So and remember that time there weren't that many Asian MCs, and for me it was like, okay, I want you to be a dope MC. Like if you're Asian, you better be dope. Like it's one of those things. It's like like you as if you're not Latino or Black, if you're like you got to work 10 times harder.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, so I guess that if I had to go through that shit, it's like, if I had to listen to something, like, you better be dope.
Yeah.
You better, like, I'm going to like,
I'm grilling you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like that. So, and I started hearing his name and he was starting to do, I would hear his name through like, I don't know if you remember this promoter by the name of Doug Kanagawa.
No.
Kanagawa Productions. I forgot what it is. I forgot what it is. Well, anyways, he was throwing all these events and I would see his name, MC Key Kool and shit like that. Then I was appear like, this cat from Gardena is rapping and shit, japping. I was like, really? So we happened to meet at Glam Slam for Doug Kanagawa. Like I actually become a guest DJ and he was the MC and stuff like that. So I was like, okay. And I saw him and he was like, okay, he's pretty good and shit like that. And he, he didn't know. I guess what's funny is like he happened to go to a United Kingdom party. He mentioned this in a couple of interviews. It's like when you. So I know you went to a couple of them.
Yep.
You remember Club Spice?
Yeah, Club Spice. Yeah.
So you remember that was off of Hollywood Boulevard, right?
Yeah.
So there was 3 rooms. There was the reggae room. There's the main room, and there was the hip hop room, right? I still remember, this is the most one of those.
Cheeto took me to Club Spice.
Oh, right. So,
yeah,
because he was also being a promoter and shit like that, right? So the craziest thing was like, I remember this is some hip hop shit right here. We just we were just getting ready to open the doors and like this. In comes walking in Grandmaster Caz and Prince Whipper Whip.
What?
I kid you not. Some of the like, just randomly, because I didn't know at the time that they were because they were living in LA.
Oh, I didn't know.
So they were living, they were tight, because when Ice-T got with Africa Islam, they started Rhyme Syndicate. They started bringing Zulu out, Zulu Nation and whatever. And I didn't know, so there's this apartment complex that everybody used to live, like Aladdin and Muggs. Aladdin and Muggs were roommates, and then the same complex, Donald D.
Oh shit! Really?
Grandma's Cat and Whipper Whip. So I didn't know they were living,
Yeah,
they were living like down the street from Hollywood, but I think they were off a Fountain or something like that. So they happened, and they said, "What's going on, man?" And of course, me being the hip hop nerd, oh shit, Grandma's Cat, Prince Whip, and then Curse was like, "Oh shit," well, it's like fuck. Some of the guys were like, "Who?"
Oh yeah,
I was like, dude, he's like, yeah. They were like, yo, man, what's going on? We're about to, yo, man, let's rock down with you and shit like that. So eventually, they started becoming the main MCs. Like, so Kaz would do the main room with what, and then Whipper Whip would do the hip hop room with Curse and myself.
Oh, dope.
Right? And then, of course, this is also at the same time Rocksteady Crew, like...
And this is all just by chance?
It was just chance, like, like Easy Rock would come, like all the homies, Rocka would come through and shit like that,
Wow.
So Key said, like, he didn't put 2 and 2 together and shit. So Key actually came to Close Spice and he saw me DJing for Kaz and Whip. I broke, I was using Big Beat from the Ultimate Breaks, and they were doing that and then dropping. And at the time, when the Wild Side instrumentals got on vinyl and shit. So I started. I was getting my Grand Wizard Theodore, Charlie Chase on and shit. So he said he saw me do that. It's like, who's this Filipino cat DJing for grandma? And then when we met and stuff, and he found out it was me and shit like that. So he's like, oh shit, and
I know you,
like that. And then
that's cool.
And that's how. And then we exchanged numbers and shit. So originally, I was, this is when I got my SP and shit. It's like, we talked, and I was supposed to send him a beat tape. I ended up not sending it for like that. Found out I met. So his manager at the time was an old school friend of mine. He was in a DJ group called Audio Tech, and his partner went to he's Japanese. Went to high school, and we also knew each other. It's like, yo, and he's like, hey man, I met RHETTMATIC, an old school friend of mine named RHETTMATIC. It's like, man, he was supposed to send me a beat tape a long time ago and shit like that, right? So they contact me, and then that's how basically
that's how it came together.
So originally I was supposed to just do his demo, like just make his beats and shit like that. And then eventually I just I found out that we just gelled together. It's like, hey man, we want to make a group and shit like that, So it's like.
So do you produce everything off of that?
Yes. At least So this record right here, I mean.
Can you hear it? Yeah.
Right, can you hear it?
Dude, it's even in good condition.
So can you hear it? So this is the 12-inch, right? So the A side is Can You Hear It? The B side is Equals MC5. That's my beat. It was my first, one of my, SP1200 beat. I didn't produce Can You Hear It?
Okay.
I did, when I met him, he already made this song. Okay. I just add the scratches. Okay. And we made, Rich One did this artwork.
Nice.
Yeah, so,
looks nothing like Rich One's artwork.
He kind of,
he's going on.
Yeah, so basically, the B side wins again. I did the so I did the E equals MC5 and stuff, and then this is my first record I ever on I ever produced on wax. So
no wonder it's in such good condition. You're keeping this,
but then it's interesting too because
so now is this the birth then of Visionaries?
Visionaries eventually became, yes. So Key was already hanging out with Elemento. I met Elemento through Key. I actually I knew 2Mex already through Rocka because 2Mex already was OMD, of Mexican descent. They were big, obviously, from The Good Life, right?
Good Life, yeah.
So 2Mex was, him and Cholo La Cinco, they're making their names and shit. So I knew him already through Rocka. And so, how with Raz, so the interesting thing, so dope. You remember Kalani, right?
Yeah, Kalani.
So Kalani from Scheme Team, rest in peace. Kalani would yo man, you got to meet my boy Razkaz, because Kalani's from Carson. Little did I know that Razkaz was Raisin. Do you know who Raisin is?
No.
Raisin was also during the same team, the scheme team. With Dags.
Oh, what?
Raisin is Razkaz. Raisin was one of the dopest dancers during those days. Dynamite Soul.
Oh, shit.
So Razkaz is Raisin.
I never knew that.
Yes. So he was.
Now I got to go back and look at those videos.
So look, he was on Remember the Time Michael Jackson video.
He's dancing?
He was in part of that. He was also.
Dude, I gotta go back and look.
He was in that Herb Albert song,
East on South.
He was in there with Dags.
I remember Dags in there. Yeah,
yeah, but he was also in it.
Wow.
Okay. He was, he was also dancing with. He was not in them, but he was, he was dancing with 2x4, which is the Far Side. Yeah. He was the one to help introduce Far Side to Delicious Vinyl.
Wow.
Yeah. So when
that's some history right there, man.
So Kalani. So this is I met Raz before I met Key.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
so Kalani says like, yo, man, gotta meet my boy Rascal. You know, we got the song, man, yo. And next you know, he's like, and I was like, are you Raisin? Ah, yeah, so. And so that's how,
shit.
and then eventually that's how I started doing scratches for Raz. Like I did his scratches on the Soul and Ice demo tapes.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually the only one that made it to the official album was fucking On Earth as Is in Heaven.
Okay.
So, but I did scratches, if it's out there, I did scratches on the demos for Core Audience and one more song, I forgot. And then, of course, Jack Frost.
Jack Frost.
Yeah.
And Razkaz was going, he was at Good Life sometimes, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean, he came out.
He's kind of around.
He's around.
I think we saw him at Good Life.
Yeah. He was like,
I mean, we were like, fuck, what is this like? Because that was like during like Freestyle Fellowship, all that.
Right,
and it was
right.
just like, dude, what's all this rhyming style? Like, this is all fucking badass.
I mean, I know about Good Life because of OMD and shit like that. And I mean, but the funniest thing I would know about, like, you know, obviously know about the Good Life for Freestyle Fellowship because of Herb Magazine when you see B Plus or Jeff Chang write about it or Spence Dookie, like that. You know, obviously B Plus, shout out to Big Brother B Plus, had a book called about his salary, right?
Yeah.
It talks about their history. That's the, you know, of course. So again, you know, and then Rock, you know, again, Rock and you, it's funny because of Rocksteady, because I met Rock, and Rock also hasn't, you know, he went to Fairfax High School with Ralph M from Funk Dubious and shit like that.
What?
Yeah. So Rock and you know, same thing.
Everyone's like kind of connected.
It's connected. It's when you get to that. I noticed when you start getting in the scene, you start getting you see the connections. Like same thing. Rob One was, you know, CBS crew, but then he was DJing and stuff like that. And then just, you know, I met the same thing going through the circles and shit. That's how I met also Cut Chemist and shit like that. You know, like, because I read about Cut through the tapes and shit like that. So it's like, oh man, you know,
Cut Chemist,
right? You know, like it's like, oh man, hey man, you cut pretty good. You know, like we do this thing called the graveyard shift and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, this is where I'm starting, you know, trying to get
networking,
and like again, you gotta like, if you really want to get respect, you got to go to those circles and shit.
You can't
like,
just be in your bedroom sitting there.
No,
like
you can't. We're not even being, you know, chastised. You can't be go to Legend and shit like that. You know, like, you know, or whatever the party. You know, you got to
branch out a little bit.
Man, that's where the real shit. Yeah. You know, like that. And it's funny because when we do those, we invite them to go to the Legend shit. This is obviously by that time United Kingdom was broken up and shit like that. So, but I was like, I remember bringing Divine Styler and Bilal Bashir to a Legend party and said, dude, you don't understand. When you play Ain't Saying Nothing,
watch what happens.
Watch what happens. So I go like, hey guys, let me jump on. Let me just do this. And I go say, hey, this is Divine. Like, I got Divine, watch this. Boom, boom, boom. Like, he was like,
you see everyone get up.
He was like, what the fuck? Divine Styler never really understand. Like, you know, because.
Yeah. And Kalani see all his moves getting used. He's like, everyone's dancing like me, man.
I was everybody, you know, or everyone's dancing like Soul
bleached,
or you were dancing like either Soul Brothers or Scheme Team.
Yeah, it was either
like
one, man.
Yeah.
Bleached out, man. Bleached out all our clothes. Yeah.
So I mean, it was cool to, you know, like just to bring back and forth and shit. But yeah, again,
that's good.
So again, that's how I was able to get Raz on the thing, because it's like, yo, man, can you? And the funny thing about E = 5, Rocka was supposed to be on this posse cut.
Oh,
he got mad at me for that. Sorry, Rock. Sorry, Rock. He was like, yeah, brother. I was supposed to be on that. You called me, but I never heard back from you. It's like, sorry, dude. Because, you know, it's interesting because Razkaz, Mean Green, Voodoo, this is the, you know, Western Hemisphere. Raz was starting to make a name, but Western Hemisphere also was trying to, and unfortunately, historically, this is the first and last time Western Hemisphere was on a record. And then Raz left the group. Yeah. So we kind of like historically shit, you know, like that. So yeah, you're dropping
like bombs over here, man. So much good history.
I mean, it's lucky, you know, like I said, just lucky to be, you know, just to experience and stuff. And it's just like a lot.
Yeah, the front row seat to all this.
You too?
Yeah, well, only through you.
I mean, no, you. 3, maybe, like maybe 2
Well, during this time too, we would always see like every time we see your name, like all the friends, like everyone that grew up, it's like, boy, he's doing it again, man. Rhett's doing it again.
I was on like I was on a mission per se, like just kind of like,
Now, okay, so at this time, like, what's driving you? Is it just like, I have a purpose now, I want to make music, and I'm just trying to get better and better?
That was one of them. Another thing too, because I was a shy kid, there was a lot of combination of things. Like, like after Brotherhood Creed, I thought, man, there goes my chance.
That was a one-time deal.
Like right. People doubted me. Of course, like girls didn't like. Like this is it's just a lot of just so. Just a lot of self-doubt or self-esteem type shit.
Yeah.
So it was just one of those things. It's like, you know what? Like I'm gonna, and then of course, like prove to my parents, like, I'm gonna try to make something.
Like, I'll show you. Like, I know what I'm doing, and this is gonna be good, and I'm getting some good response from, so I'm gonna keep doing it.
It was one of those things. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna get it. But I'm gonna do it. You
just do it.
Just do it. I mean, my parents, they were totally against it, but I was like, shout out to my dad, rest in peace and stuff. He was the one that, like, I remember I had like a heart-to-heart talk to him, saying, like, saying to him, look, I need to do this. I would love to have you and mom's, blessings, but if you don't give me your blessings, I want to do it. I'm gonna move out or something like that. Like, I, as a man, I have to try to do this, or else if I do it your way, try to go to school, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I realize I'm not really, I'm not meant to be this, whatever.
And it inside, like, this is not for me.
This is not for me. And so it's like, this is something that I know that I don't, like, I want to try. And if I fail, at least I can say, like what you said earlier, that I did it my way and like that. And then the rest is history.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my...
Well, I'm sure your dad's proud of you now.
I like to think he is and stuff like that, Plus, my mom, I'm a walking Joey Coy skit when it comes to my mom. Are you going to go back to school? Are you still...
Anytime.
Shoot. She even did now. Like, what time you're coming back home for your gig, Mom? Mom, yeah, God, you want me to help pay your bills? So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's so... and then the whole Visionary thing took off.
Yeah, so Visionaries obviously was in, the official release was on the Cosmonauts album. Okay. And shit like that. So, again, there's, not to go too much still, I mean, we'd sit in interviews and stuff like that. So, like, Key knows, I met Lord Zen and Danu through Key Cool, same thing with Elemental. I met 2Mix with Rocka. They knew about 2Mix and stuff like that. And then, it just... As the saying goes, it's just rest is history.
Yeah, man. Yeah. How many albums did you guys do with Visionaries?
5.
5.
It was first 4, then it was a 13-year layover.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then we dropped V, which is our 5th album. It was like right before the pandemic started. Or right.
2020.
Originally, we were about to drop it before, but then the pandemic hit, and it was like, you know what? Let's just drop it.
Just gotta drop it now. Yeah.
Regardless of what's gonna happen and shit like that. So, and then we're, done festivals. And we've thrown on festivals. We've done a lot of shows. Working on new music,
traveling and
like that. So
what? Did you go to other countries?
Yes.
Travel.
Yeah.
Would you, like, when you're going to all the countries touring? What's that like? Is it fun? Is it tiring?
When you're younger, it's like yeah. But as you get older, man, it's tiring. It is tiring. It is when you really, when you think about it, it's just like when you're younger, you can deal with all the things. But as you get older, it's like, man,
can I do like 2 days and go back home for a bit and then? Yeah.
I mean, well, if you would do like 2 weeks or you would do like 2 or 3 shows, maybe 1 day off, 2 or 3 shows, 1 out. If it's a month, sometimes
it's tiring.
It's tiring, right? It finally catches up to you and stuff like that.
Was one of the coolest places you went to?
Of course, Japan.
Japan.
I love Japan.
Yeah, Japan's the best.
Japan's the best, man.
Gone there 2 times now.
Japan, of course, London.
Like, where would you go back? The places that you did tour to, where would you go back on vacation?
Japan.
Yeah,
Number
hands
one.
down, right?
Hands down Japan. Hands down Japan, man.
It's so efficient, so clean. Food's great. Everyone's nice.
And
everyone's polite.
And then not only that, they're into everything. So if there's just so if they're
whatever you're into, like they'll be into too. You'll find their you'll find your niche over there.
Yeah. So, yeah, Japan's the shit.
What I wanted to ask you about, like now, since you started and now DJ culture has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you, or when did you start seeing the change in DJ culture, like with the new gear and techniques, and like how is that like?
I think, I mean, obviously,
Because it was a slow change. Like once I remember when was it Serato that first came out, then you had the little breakout box, and it was like, what is that? And like, oh, it's Serato. And it's like, yeah, but that's digital. Like, what's going on?
Right.
Like I remember there was a big thing with when CDs first came out. And they're like, oh, CDs are going to take over. And I'm like, oh, I'm not using those CDs. I'm not scratching on CDs. Then you would see some people like actually like scratching, like, okay, whatever. But then the digital came out. And I was like, all right, well. And then it kind of brings about like an animosity between the old school and new school.
Right.
Like, man, I'm all about vinyl.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Right. Digital's okay. But I think, I don't know. What do you think? Because right now I feel like it's a good mix.
Here's the interesting part. We talked this offline, about like, you can't really rest on your laurels, and you have to learn how to adapt.
Yeah.
I said this to you, and I said this to many people and stuff in interviews. Like the one that really kind of showed that to learn how to evolve and learn to accept things, but still able to be you, is Jazzy Jeff. Reason why is like, okay, before Serato was like Final Scratch.
Final Scratch, that's what it was. Yeah.
Final Scratch was not really the thing, and we're still kind of like, So there was when Shure was still active in the DJ community, and they were throwing battles called Vinyl Combat. If you remember that,
I remember that.
So there was they had their own heats. There was in Vegas, and Jeff was a host, right? And so before even there was Final Scratch, then the Serato came out, and there was also Torque. Remember Torque?
Torque, yeah,
right.
Torque.
So I remember Revolution was like all like torque and shit like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And like that. But when we did this Vinyl Combat, the Las Vegas heat, it was dope because it was Short, me. Was it Short, me? Or it was Jay, Babs, me, and Mello and Short, I think, I guess. I don't know. So it was dope because we did in our team routine, we did a tribute to Jeff, knowing that he's there. We'd redo not he's the DJ on the rapper, but the Jive rhythm track. So
the house party rhythm
house
track.
party. We did it live. He was
Oh shit!
We did Jay found the originals. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh
yeah.
really?
He was like, we were like, oh shit. So we did.
Where is that from?
It's some funk record, old like funk disco record.
I was just looking for that. Maybe like a couple
I forgot the name of it. I do this tip of my head, but yeah. Oh yeah, so we redid it, dude. And Jeff was bugging the fuck out like that, right? But even before that, he told us like, "Hey man, you guys fuck with Cerritos?" Like, really? Let me check. Let me show you this. So he breaks it out because he's one of the first. Does everything but on Cerrito, we're like, fuck.
There it is.
It's like, how are you gonna say shit to Jazzy Jeff? He's from
man, it's digital Jazzy. Yeah.
Right. He's like, dude, nah, man. Jeff was the one that showed us that kind of like, if Jeff, the one that helped brought Transform Scratch to, not the inventor, but the help brought the Transform Scratch, and he's from that generation. And he's killing it with Cerrito. That just made us like, you know what? He says like, this is his tool, dude. Just think, like you still gotta be dope.
Yeah. You still gotta have some skills. You just can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes like, and then when all the people that are old schoolers like vinyl's like, dude, some of the guys that are doing vinyl, they still kind of suck, right?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's sure, Cerrito makes things a little bit more easier and maybe make you become a little bit Superman DJ and shit like that. But you still got to have the skills.
Still have the foundation.
Right. And then when you go to talk shit to Jeff, because he could do it better than you, off and on and shit. So I mean, on vinyl, like, what are you gonna do? You know. So when once Jeff showed us that shit, that kind of really change our way of thinking. Yeah, you know. So and from then on, it's just like, you know, and I still look at it like technology. You know, it's like Spider-Man. It's like with great powers comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
It's how you use it, right? I was just telling you this too, like, you know, so at the school last night, you know, I was telling the students I'm introducing the Cerrito. Some of them already use they come from Cerrito. What we do is like we teach them, you know, vinyl first and then go into digital. And we tell, you know, like, you're gonna find a difference once you go, like, if you went from Cerrito to vinyl, and a lot of them were like, oh man, it's harder. When you master vinyl, when you go back to Cerrito or digital, you're gonna find it's wow. You know, like, you're gonna notice the difference on the touch. You're gonna difference like
the touch,
right? And then, you know, you're gonna tell, like, most of you guys are like, if you're, you know, you're looking at, when you're looking at your waves, you're thinking of, like, you know, reading at emails, and you think you can match waves and stuff, and it's like, no, man, that still doesn't help you. You still have to use your ears.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that
you still have to know how to drop on the one. Sure, you can, you know, get to certain breaks easier, or you can do certain things. You don't have to worry about the needle skipping, but still got to have the, you know, the foundation.
Yeah.
Once, you know, like, when they're starting to, you know, and then we taught them that, and they're, you know, you can tell, like, oh my gosh, there's a difference, you know, because a lot of our students that they learned from vinyl to Cerrito, they're like, man, I'm glad I got taught how to use vinyl to go to Cerrito, you know, because. You know,
it's like anything. You got to learn, like, the basics, and then you got to move up, and then you'll appreciate, like, the technology a whole lot more.
Totally.
Yeah.
But then I tell them, like, and once if you take away the technology, you have the fundamentals. Yeah. You know, you still can, you know, you can. Sure, I don't like DJing on CD DJs, but at least I know how to, like, you know, use it basically. Yeah. You know, so
the same like drawing basics. Like, you got to know how to draw basics. Like, just fundamental, like, shadow, shape. Same thing. Right. I mean, you do it on paper, do it on digital.
Regardless of what, I guess, platform, whatever you're doing, you know, if you're playing basketball, you got to know how to you have to know how to dribble. You have to know how to do a layup. It's like anything. You got to know the fundamentals, and you got to know if you don't know the foundation, it would, you know, sure, you can do all this stuff, but it sounds like shit. Yeah. Or look like shit, or you play like shit, you know. You know? So with technology, another thing too is, like, we talked about this off record, whatever, off air. It's like, I didn't want to also be what I call the Al Bundy syndrome. I mean, and I guess in hip hop, there's a generation gap. I've been saying this a lot lately. You know. I don't know. It has to do with technology. I don't know if it's just, you know, the instant gratification. You know, like, some of the OGs, or even people from our generation. You know, like a lot of them. You know, they kind of stop, right? But then now it's become cool again, and, like, they bringing out, like, oh, I'm doing vinyl. I got my gold chain, right? You know, whatever. And they, you know, and they have the attitude of, like, what you know about this shit? You know, my era is better than your era and shit like that, right? Of course, there's the younger generation. They were born to hip hop already, because they get to experience what we did, or the generation before us, and they see it's like, oh, this is, they want their props already, and, you know, they want instant gratification and the entitlement of, like, you need to put me on. If you don't put me on, it's like, fuck you. And then the same thing with the OGs is like, they're not giving me respect. If it wasn't for our generation, you wouldn't do this. Yeah. So it's just like, it's a catch-22. But then again, I use Jazzy Jeff as a perfect example. Seeing someone that has never stopped, has progressed, even stayed his lane, but still able to adapt to what's going on, you know?
And still killing it.
Still killing it. It's not, granted, it's competition. Of course, you want to be, when you're younger, you want to be number one. Yeah. You want to be the best. As you get older, you realize it's like, this is a blessing to still do what you're doing. Now you become mature. You want to be able to say, I want to be the best that I can be. Yeah. Whether it be as as an artist or as a human being. You know, that's the weirdest thing.
Yeah. No, totally. That's you become a lot more grateful and you're appreciative. Like, well, at least I can do it.
Right.
Like, I want to be as good as I can.
Right.
Yeah.
So going back again to say the Al Bundy syndrome is seeing a lot of people I looked up to or heroes or people from my own generation and stuff, and having the entitlement attitude, you know, and I just realized it's like, you know, like if you stopped, and this is the weirdest thing, we're sounding like also our parents, you know,
totally.
you know, the older generations is like, what you know about this, you know, because once you stop, your only thing is remembering from that period of time. It's like that's the golden era.
You didn't grow in between.
You didn't grow in between like that, you know.
And there's a big gap.
There's a big gap, and then even people saying like, you know, they say hip hop is dead. It's like, you know, really, is it? Did you search for it? Like, you know, like back then it was hard to look for it, so you got to go look. You know, it was scarce. You got to look for it. Remember we were talking about that, right? You like, oh, we got to whatever, right? Now, so much shit. The difference is now you just got to dig for it and look for which one you like. And people like, most of the time, our generation is like, because I get it, you know, they're married, got responsibilities, got kids. So sometimes their only thing is the radio or Spotify and like that, right? They don't know where to look and shit like that. So it's like, and I tell them, it's like, dude, you got to dig for it. Why complain? If you're going to complain about, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
That was the thing I learned. That was a very hard lesson. It's like, you can either contribute to this to help expand or shut up.
Yeah. You just sit there and wallow in your misery and be like, people suck now. And
Yeah.
No, totally. I totally get it. Since you've been teaching, so after all this, then you guys open up Beat Junkies Institute of Sound where you've been teaching.
Yes.
Now, what's like one of the big takeaways now that you've been teaching? Like, what is it that you're seeing in the students, or what is it that you like about teaching?
It brought me back to what it humbled me to like, you became a student again, even though you're a teacher. Because how do you teach? You know, like us, we know the language. You can do a double click flare with it. How do you teach someone how to put a needle on a record? How do you break it down? Like why you have to put your hand on the record? Why do you have to move forward instead of backwards to do a scratch? Why not? Why you have to move forward instead? You know, like starting off forward. Like, you know, why do you have to have your hold a fade a certain way? Why do you have to have your headphones have one ear covered and open? You know, why do you have to count bars or beats and bars and stuff? Why is there structure? How do you tell that to someone that had never done that? It really made you like, you got to really, it's a science to dumb down the thing. Not say dumb down, but just to really break it down to someone that doesn't understand the language where they can pick it up.
Yeah.
And then when they ask you questions and make you like, I never thought of it that way, right?
Now you've become the student.
You become a student. And not only that, if you're going to teach this stuff, it forces you to start practicing and like get more. I honestly have become as a teacher, my DJing has actually become 10 times better. Because it made me like, if I'm going to teach it, I got to know this stuff, you know? I've also realized where, you know, like where my strengths and my weakness is at. But then it's always like, okay, well, I can work on that, you know? And I realize this, like, it's on, like, to this day, I'm still trying to figure out how to do the boomerang scratch. I can't do it. But, you know, but I do things where, like, you know, again, talking to someone like D, you know. Like,
I was going to say, have him give you a private lesson, man.
I mean, well, he tells me stuff like, you know, like, he'll break it down to me, like, you know, like, the new styles of scratching, you have this hand movements, right?
Yeah.
I can't do it because my hands are kind of like double jointed, or it gets kind of like tight. And then the things that I've done, and I've done it before, but he says, dude, just turn off the platter and try to, you know, just practice that way. And I've noticed that I can do certain movements with the platter off, you know? So it's kind of like a cheating in some ways, but it kind of helps me to
just understand get that movement.
Yeah. You know, so I kind of adapt and make my own thing. I mean, I might not be able to do the textbook certain techniques, but because of that, you might come up with, you know, you come up with something else.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah, but it's good that you're still learning.
I'm still learning.
You're still open to learning too.
Yeah.
Which is good.
I also realize that I can't, I won't, as much as frustrating it is, but that's part of the process and stuff like that. So it kind of humbles me.
Yeah.
And it humbles me to tell the same thing to our students. It's like, yo, you got, it's part of the process. You can, and I learned this through jujitsu. It's like, your ego is not your amigo.
Yeah.
And also like, don't be afraid to fail. Because if you're afraid to fail, you're afraid to succeed. Or at least I learned that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, my instructor in jiu-jitsu says like tap, like don't be afraid to tap because that's what you learn your mistakes from that. So if you learn from your mistakes, that's the only way you can get better. And, just keep on doing it, and then your breakthroughs will come as you keep on. It's not going to come overnight.
Yeah.
So having that philosophy, try to tell that to our students and stuff like that. Is that there's a process. Don't compare yourself to other people because they're having their own journey.
Yeah.
Granted, some people might pick it up quicker than others, but just worry about you.
Yeah.
And
it's just like life.
It's life.
It's life, man.
It's everything that we're doing, whether you be as a video editor, a director, a DJ, producer, dancer, graph artist, basketball player, martial art. It's the philosophy, the concept is everyday life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone is going on their own path and just concentrate on your own and everything will work out.
Yeah. So yes,
that's good.
That's what I've learned is become a student again and just.
But they always said when you learn, like when you're a student, you learn, but then when you teach, you're learning it again for yourself. So the more you teach, the more you're going to just keep learning.
Yes.
You'll get better and better.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about your jujitsu.
Mm-hmm.
We have a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
How did jujitsu change your life?
Man.
And how long have you been doing it?
So technically, I guess almost 10 years, I guess.
10 years, okay.
I started late. So I started when I was 45 years old. I was overweight and stuff. I've always wanted to learn, like I was interested, obviously like everybody saw UFC, saw the Gracies and stuff. And Raka, he was one of the people that tried to get, kind of get me into jiu-jitsu because he was taking classes over at the Gracie Academy.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So Shasta Henner and Huron, so he took me over there, got my first private lesson, but I wasn't ready for it though, like that. I fast forward and stuff like that, got overweight, dealt with was dealing with a breakup, also was dealing with just issues and stuff like that, and I needed something like to, like break me out of that, I wouldn't say
that
funk or depression. I don't know if it's depression, but it may be depression.
Yeah.
But, I just needed a self-love and just learn, like I needed
something for yourself.
I needed to find something. I mean, I already have something, but I needed to get that extra, the something like that. And then so my another best friend of mine, his name's Keith. He's the one that got me back. Like Raka, it was the introduction, but my best friend Keith, one of my best friends Keith, got me like he's training. It's like try it out again, and that's when it's like, all right, I think I'm
ready now.
I think I'm ready, and then just kind of like just went through the process of just the frustration of getting choked out. I couldn't last 30 seconds and whatever, and just even got cauliflower ear from that. Just
oh, that's right. Yeah, you showed me.
Just and then also the determination, like how the same thing of doing just DJing, getting records, doing it's the same thing. It's like I can't quit. I gotta try, and that was, and Keith was telling me he took me to a garage. Like my first jiu-jitsu was like I went to a garage school. My original instructor, he retired from teaching, but he was like, like we'd go once a week, like Saturdays and stuff like that.
Out of his garage
and stuff. And there was the guys that I was training with. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Oh no.
Okay. The guys I was training there, they thought I was not going to come back.
Oh really?
Yeah. Keith was saying like, no, he'll be back. Watch it, because he says he has that determination, and so it's tripping. And then when they found out I got, like, oh shit, he got a blue belt. Oh shit, he got a. And so they they're like, we never thought you were gonna, you know, like, glad you stick with it and shit like that. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So I mean,
And what is it? What have you like? I guess what's your big takeaway from jujitsu?
it's the same thing with teaching. It's
Just-
like, became a student. Like, it helped me humble myself. Really, again, that seriously. Just when you think, you know, okay, you're so and so outside a mask, but you get in a mask, they don't care. And I got tapped out by girls, kids, guy, whatever. You
wanna get humbled quick.
you get humbled really quick and stuff, and it just made you think like, okay, I ain't shit. You may be so and so, but you come here, it's like you ain't shit.
Yeah.
So
We're all equal here.
it doesn't matter who, you know. Yeah, sure. It definitely is an equalizer. It just shows you the mat, as the saying goes, the mats don't lie. Because you know, like same thing too is like you have to put in the work and stuff like that. So that helped me to kind of relight again when we opened the school. That helped me, the philosophies from there, or at least the concepts, helped me with even teaching. Because the way I was learning from there, I was able to apply it. Like, it's funny, my instructor was like saying, you know, when you DJ and stuff, you have one side is stronger than the other. Think of that way, you know, like you have to know the thing. And it's the same thing as DJing. You have one side is stronger than the other, but if you can learn at least the foundation, you know, you'll go, you have a way to go. But if you know at least certain things that, okay, I have to switch off and you know, and he said the same thing. It's like, just, you don't have to do all the fancy stuff. Just learn all, if you have solid foundations, you can do it. And then when you understand it, the concepts of all the advanced techniques are just a combination of fundamental stuff. It's the same thing. It's the same thing when you do juggles and scratching. It's just like if you're gonna do like, okay, if you do combos, you gotta learn, okay, from babies to transform the stabs to a tear to going to a double click, and you know, it just.
What about a boomerang?
Or Aquaman.
Oh, Aquaman.
I didn't
even know what that is.
There's a scratch.
Is that Aquaman?
Yeah. So I kid you not. I was like, what? Aquaman. Aquaman flare. What? Prism. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I've heard of Prism at least.
Yeah, the
Aquaman. That's a new one.
Dude. Yeah, this is some. Yeah, dude. So it's just like, it's interesting because even then, again, I've noticed. I know the concept of doing, but now it's can my hands do that? And then, of course, repetition.
Yeah.
And again, obviously, because we're adults, we sometimes don't have the time to really put in the work like we used. Like, you know,
I'd rather have a nap.
I need to get an old man nap. I mean, I'll try to get my 15 minutes of practice in before.
Oh, that's good.
You know, whatever I can.
Yeah.
Or I try to. I mean, if I know I have a gig, I'll practice too, and shit like that. But you know, not like when you go 6 to 8 hours,
right, all day
after you do your homework and shit.
Just sit there in your room and that's all you did.
No responsibilities and shit like that.
That's all I used to do. Just sit there.
I know. Now I
did so bad in school just because I was so into DJing. This is my life, and I'm going to be the best. And it was doing really good. And like,
now we're adulting.
Yeah, now we're adulting. Stupid adults. Sucks. Stupid muscle pains.
Right. Exactly, man.
Which I gotta. Last time I talked to you, I have to join my jujitsu that's near me. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Oh, man, please.
I think I'm going to go next week. I'm going to go take my first class.
I'll try. I mean, you know, here's the thing I would say. You know, I think I told you this. Like, just find a school that's, you know, obviously there's like, competition schools. Yeah. You know, especially now. You know, I mean, if you want to, go for it.
I don't want the competition.
Yeah.
I just want to do it for human stuff.
Yeah. I mean, not only that, it's a good, if you find the right school, you'll have a great community.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, that's an interesting thing too. Is like opening up a DJ school, or even, you know, as a lot of the students, they have a community. They actually hang out with each other because they met through DJing. It's like the same thing how we met through DJing or hip hop and shit. We have it's a community and stuff like that. If you find the right school, you'll have a community too. It's like, you know. Yes, you know, so.
It's always better to, I don't know, I guess I guess you can do it nowadays, like a community online, but I feel like it's always better.
Hands-on.
Physical, like, you know, people talking to people as opposed to like, I'm going to chat with you right now.
Right. I mean, that's good about technology, but it is more better. Like we do our online school too. We have a Beat Junkies, right? But, you know, sure, we teach them, but it's not the same. Like, I noticed the retention sometimes is more better when you do it more like face to face and like 1-on-1 or 2, 3 or whatever, you know. But then again, the good thing about technology is they can watch the video and watch it all the time. And it's
a little bit of both then.
Yeah. So it's going to learn at their own pace per se, you know. So, I mean, again, technology is a gift and a curse, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
All right. At this point in your life, though, what is inspiring you? Where do you get some inspiration?
Just still doing what we love to do.
That's what it is, right?
I had to remind myself, why do you do this? Why was what the reason why you're still doing this? Because of course there are times there may be one or twice I thought of just fuck this shit.
Yeah.
You know, but then I realized, I had to, remind myself for someone like, hey man, you're lucky that you're still doing this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, granted, I would
have loved to have been doing it still.
Right.
Yeah. So,
right. You know, like the entertainment business is no joke. You know this and stuff. It's like financially, compared to my other peers, they probably are financially way better than I am. But then I have to remind myself, it's like, again, am I chasing for the money?
Yep.
Or am I doing this? And then usually
because I'm enjoying my life.
Right. Yeah. And then, especially now with we talked again off there. It's like, look how many people, the last 10 years, I've lost so many people. Not only like family, but just friends, heroes, whatever. And you just realize this is like you only have a limited time.
Yep.
Like I mean, sure, you think about the future and stuff like that, but then how can you might not this is a weird thing right now, and tell me how you feel about this. It's like we've been taught to save up and save up for families and you think of the rainy days. But then after seeing so many people, it's like you might not be.
I might be able to use that.
Yeah, you can't take that money with you.
Yeah, it's a big my wife's mom passed away at 50 something. Mm-hmm. But she never got to go travel anywhere. She was like, okay, well, we're going to save up and we'll do it later. And then she passed away and she goes, and my mom never got to do anything. So we still want to save up. We're still trying, but it's like, we better do this now. Let's enjoy our lives now.
Right.
And because you just don't know, tomorrow we can go get hit by a car and that's it.
For real?
Yeah, yeah. So, and then especially at our age, you start seeing people.
That's the craziest thing.
Someone goes to sleep and then they don't wake up.
That's the craziest thing. Now we're at an age where not only our parents or elderlies are passing away, our own peer groups, our own age group is passing away.
And that's when it starts to really sink in your mortality is you start thinking about it.
And then what's even crazier when some people are younger than you are passing away.
Yeah.
That's like a whole other shit. That's so...
And you're like, man, they didn't even have a chance to live fully. And it's like, what am I doing? Am I going to waste my time then because I got an extra 10 years more than them?
Right.
And it's like, oh, I better get on my shit. I better, I better do something.
Right. I mean, sure,
of course, take advantage of the time.
Right. Sure, of course. I mean, we have to live.
Yeah.
We got to pay bills and stuff like that. But then, am I working? I mean, our generation too is we're flying out of the seat of our pants of learning things on the fly because there's no instructions.
Yeah. Especially for your career too. There wasn't oh, I'm going to be a DJ because this guy's a DJ and he had a successful career.
Right.
You guys developed a career for yourselves.
Right. And that's the thing, again, for being a minority, because you're what's your ethnic background?
Mexican.
So Mexican.
Yeah.
So as a minority, if they're especially they're immigrants, they all know about you have to work hard and get an education. That's it. That's it. Anything else,
And then go be an accountant or a doctor or something.
Right.
Yeah.
They think that's, and I get it, you want stability like that, but then you realize it's the stability also does not always equal happiness.
Yeah.
Right. Or stability might not also be healthy because you're stressing out to try to live a certain lifestyle to that thing. But even then, as an artist, you're trying to live a certain lifestyle too. It's you have to find that balance. And it's interesting too, is that now that mental health is now introduced because we did.
What was that?
What was that
never. No one ever said anything about that.
No, we're in a part where it's everything we're learning on the fly and learning things and now applying it as it comes and stuff like that. Because and then the people that are behind it, they're seeing what they're doing. It's like, and then which is good, is because now they learn from what we're doing, and then they flip it their way.
Yeah.
So I mean, like my godson Nico Allrock, he's the son of Babu. He's 25 years old. He's a producer, entrepreneur.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I saw his.
And he's doing, just dropped the album, and he's doing these events and stuff. He's like, it's amazing to see him, like at his age, because at 25, we were still thinking like
cruising around,
going to
Club Spice,
trying to cut it up and shit like that. He's already, and then he's making he's doing things that like wow, I wish we were doing. Yeah. Right. And then what's cool about it is like now asking him questions and picking his brain to apply to like what can work for us. Like,
totally. Yeah.
Learn that, like he would ask us questions and we ask him questions. So it's like, so.
Yeah. Cause you can still learn from whatever age. Totally. No matter what. Yeah. And I think at the point where you think like, I'm too old to learn, like I don't need to learn anything. That's when you're. That's
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's, I'm saying,
so you got to stay sharp.
I mean, interesting. I just saw it was in James Hong, the actor. Dude, I didn't know he was 95 years old. He's been around. He's still
chilling.
And he's
going to award ceremonies, acting in movies.
Dude, he's fucking still. And then he's doing voiceovers for Kung Fu Panda, fucking doing shit with.
Like he doesn't have to work, but he's enjoying it. Like, why not?
Why not? And yet he doesn't look like he's 95 years old.
That's the other thing.
And that's inspiring to see something like that. Yeah. When you realize, like, dude, if you just do what you love to do, regardless if you get paid, you're going to get. I look at it now as like, if you still, we're going to get broke one way or another. Yeah. But if you do what you love to do, that shit will come to you. Yeah. As long as you try to.
And you won't have to look back and be like, man, I wish I would have done that. Mm-hmm. I should have at least tried. Yeah. And I said, like, if I tried it and I sucked, but that's good. Hey, I tried. Right.
If I did this and shit like that, I mean, even to this day, I'm making mistakes and stuff. I was like, fuck, I'm paying for it. But, well, what are you going to do?
You won't know otherwise. Right. Mistakes are just a way of learning. I forgot the
cliche and shit like that. But yeah, there's like the only way you're going to learn is making mistakes.
Now, I guess going on that, like if looking back, like if DJ didn't work out, what do you think you would be doing? Well, did you ever have a backup plan?
No.
You're just like, this is it. And if this doesn't work out, then
I mean,
I'm going to make it work out.
When your back's against the wall.
Yeah. So you're like, I have to make it work.
I have to make it work.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, I mean.
I feel like sometimes if you do have a safety, you're kind of putting up that safety net and you might not try as hard because like, well, okay, I have this other side job that I'm going to do really good at.
Which is, but it's interesting.
It's a safer route, but it's like.
But here's the thing. It's interesting now too, because, when you're younger, it's like, oh, you have a job. You can't, like as an artist, you were thinking like, if you can make a living off of being an artist, and you had to get a job, it was like first you'd feel like you're a failure.
Yeah.
Now, especially in terms of hip hop, like grown man hip hop, right? Yeah, like you have someone like say, Jake One, incredible producer and stuff. Before he really went full-time producer, he was working for the city of Seattle and shit like that.
Oh, really?
While still making beats for Dilla and G and shit like that, right? Until it got to a point where I can
make this a living now.
But there's other people that in the independent world, let's say like I don't know if you're familiar with Superstition.
Okay.
And a dope MC from originally from North Carolina, lives in the ATL. He works he has a daytime job, sadly, and he makes music, puts out music just because he doesn't have to worry about getting paid because he's paying his bill. Daytime he does his thing, and then on the side he makes music because he loves to and puts out and shit like that, And it made me like, okay, as you get to a point, of course, have some type of stability some way. And it was a big thing because he said in his interviews, and I remember talking to him, I was like, man, I can't, like I have a family. I used to thought it's over, but then I realized that because now, again, technology, like now I can put out my own, I don't have to go through a label. I can put it out myself.
Right.
And I make actually extra money from just putting out my own shit. So
and it's a nice stress reliever because now I don't have to keep it bottled up and I can go outside and that's my stuff right here. That's my journey over here. I can go back and just be father and yeah.
And that's the interesting part now. Like now it's more acceptable now.
Yeah.
Before it wasn't.
Yeah, before it's like, what are you doing?
Right. So
you want to be an MC? Stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's like, be a rapper. Who says you can't be a rapper? Who says you can't? As long, like take care of your bills. Like I even tell people that are coming up, it's like, I would say, finish school. But don't give up on your dream.
Yeah.
All right. Just do because you love to do it. And if it happens that you can do full time, then go for it.
And the moment you stop, that's when your dream dies. That's why you don't stop.
Right. Totally.
Advice for future DJs coming up.
It's kind of hard because it's like you said, the scene things have changed so quick now these days. It's kind of hard to. I mean, what I would say back then is it does not. Like what I say, it doesn't apply now.
Yeah,
I would say now. I'd say if you're trying to chase it, you're trying to be like trying to make money and get a career from it. I'd say, that's cool, dude. But do it because you really love to do it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think it comes down like if you really love to do it, don't be patient about it. Don't try to chase the dollar. Don't try to chase fame. Fame is overrated.
Yeah.
Do it because you love to do it, and everything will come to you in due time. And if it doesn't come, it's cool. Just do it because you love to do it. But most of the time, I realize I think you as an artist, as a creative, you understand that if you might what you really want to do didn't do, but you're still creating, but you're able to do things like, for instance, we were talking about DJing and stuff. You love DJing, but you haven't done that. But look what you're doing. That's because of DJing.
Yeah. Yeah, everything stems from DJing.
Right.
I look back and it's like DJ was my foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop, but DJ specifically.
Right.
And like, of course, graffiti, everything. But
Right.
DJ was the one. And it's like, it's translated to everything from like editing videos, the same thing.
Right.
Mixing.
Because the way you edit videos is like how you chop up and you cut it up. It's like it's the same concept. It's a different format. So
it's a different tool.
Yeah. So I just say like you take care of it. And like if you go to school, get that degree, but still don't just follow your dreams and stuff. But just take care just take care of your take care of whatever you need to take care of, and don't afraid to fail.
Yeah, don't be afraid to fail. That's a huge one.
Yeah.
That'll stop a lot of things.
Yeah.
All right. We are going at 2 hours, 46 minutes. So that was a great interview, but it's time for bonus round questions.
Oh, shit. I didn't even think you were going to do bonus round.
It's bonus round. This will go quick. All right, here we go. Joe Cooley or Cash Money?
It goes either way, dude, depending what day I'm in. Of course, LA was like, damn, Joe Cooley.
Joe Cooley, man.
Right?
And he was scratching with the little toggle switch. I was like, what's he doing? How's he doing that?
Yeah. But then, of course, like East Coast guys like, fuck that. That's cheating and shit.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. But then you see Cash Money, the way the shit he was doing. It's like,
oh, he's so smooth.
And then he's funky. And, so you got technical versus funky. And then you got two different styles, LA and Philly styles and stuff. So it all depends. And the craziest thing about that battle is like Cash Money won by 1 point.
Yeah.
But there was of course, and it's interesting because Philly, talking to Jeff about this, even Philly, like New York, anything outside New York, they hate, Philly,
100%.
you're right. So, but then Philly and, so it depends really, man. It really, like what mood I'm in is I'd say Cash Money or sometimes I'll say Joe Cooley. But to me, the Joe Cooley Cash Money is the ultimate DJ battle. To me, that's my because it's the ultimate East Coast, West Coast. It's the ultimate, like just styles and stuff like that. Just styles.
Yeah. Oh, totally. All right. Newmark or Gemini? 19-inch mixer or the Scratch Master?
Oh, it depends. Because I have a 2200.
Oh, do you? No.
But then.
Oh, shit. Oh. Wait, this isn't even the 19-inch.
No.
Or is it? This is like in between. I remember this.
But then there's also the 1150. I don't have.
Of
course.
So Rhett's pulling out all the goodies.
Well,
got the Gemini, got Newmark.
And then of course Yeah, I don't know.
Gemini
Man.
Scratch Master, dude. I love this thing so much. So we had this. We had a bigger one, but it had the little sampler.
No, the
1775,
other guys had
I
this.
think. Yeah.
You know, then I also had the 1150 one Aladdin.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Did you ever put screws in here as toggle switches?
one of them I did.
Someone showed me that. Yeah. But then we came into this. This was the last mixer I owned, and it was before Best X. Yeah.
So if you want to, you see that box over there, lift it up. First prototype. So a lot of people don't know that.
Was this the prototype?
One of the first prototypes.
Oh, look at this thing too.
This is like one of the first 5. So this is like a lot of people don't know. I mean, we really don't really talk about it. But Shortcut and myself helped.
That's right.
Helped design that. So that not to kind of toot our horns, but like
you're like responsible for this whole next generation of mixers.
Yeah.
Once it went to this, everybody this was it.
Yeah.
This was the thing. Besides that little stick, but the little stick was too small.
Yeah.
But this is I remember I won a 05 Pro through a Dirt Style Challenge music video.
Right.
I made 5 little videos.
So there you go. History right here. So yeah, I don't know. It depends really. Because I was a toggle switch guy, Newmark, but then of course, seen Cash Money Josh, so Scratch using the 200, like this.
The Gemini though. I always wanted one of Gemini.
So I had the other Scratch Master with the sampler.
Yeah.
That's why I would do sometimes my loops and shit before I got the
yeah.
Was
it 4 seconds?
4, I think 4 seconds.
That was small and short.
Yeah. And this, the SP1200 is 10 seconds and shit like that.
Yeah.
The SP12 was 5 seconds.
Was it really?
Yeah, the SP12 was 5 seconds. The SP1200 is 10 seconds.
So but you can do it. Look what people do for 10 seconds, right? It's amazing. Well, it kind of pushes the creativity too. Like I got to get creative on this.
Totally.
It's a limit.
Yeah.
Or fresh. Yeah.
First, I would say fresh because I learned fresh from.
Did you?
Because of Rocket. Especially when I found out, then it's like, then you hear off from Mixmaster Ice using it on Leader of the Pack and Roxanne and shit. And then when you discovered Fat Five Freddy B-side, the Change the Beat.
Oh, yeah.
Once you heard, I was like, fresh.
It has a better sound in the beginning.
Yeah.
You make it click. 80s or 90s hip hop.
If this was a Drink Champs, I'd be drinking right now. Dude, I don't know, man. They both have. It all depends. I don't know, man. They're both good, man. Shit.
I know, I always like my peak is like 87 to like 93. Like I like that chunk.
See, because what I like about
maybe 94, 93. Yeah.
So obviously 80s is like the foundational and shit, like just experiencing it, but. 90s is because of participating in it, So So that's why I'm saying it kind of depends and stuff like that. Because it's like once you, like I said, start going to New Seminar, going to Rockstar, going to Funk Jungle, going to you just. So it all depends really.
Transformer or Flare?
I don't know, man. Transform, I guess. It's because it's still funky.
Which one? Yeah, which one? Like all of a sudden, like I got a new scratch. This feels great.
I mean, shit. I mean, it's funny.
When I first learned Transform, I was like, what?
Yeah.
But you would just go like really long.
But then when you start to do it, when you finesse and do the funk and stuff like. Well, it's funny because like Shortcut and I, like we can flare, but we go back to keep it simple, like. Go to you see Mr. Stab Transform Master, right?
Yeah,
he'll flare and stuff, but it's like, but something ear pleasing about it, right? So, but when I do flares, I don't try to do all the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But again, goes back to say someone like D. D can do all that stuff, but then he makes this shit so simple and ear friendly, ear pleasing. His theory, he told me this is like. He'll do repetitions, just keeping it like caught so he can catch the groove. And all of a sudden he'll throw something in there, and then bring it back, and then spacing, through as that the phrasing of the space, as a jazz, like he said, miles and shit. It's the way sometimes just let it breathe, then
Just a little less is more sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
Vinyl or digital?
Oh, of course, vinyl. I mean, but But I
Digital has its place.
Digital has its place.
Vinyl.
You can never go wrong with vinyl.
It feels so good.
Sounds
You can always
good.
feel that little bit of vibration on your finger. That's the only thing I miss.
Yeah.
And then there's zero lag. Never. It always hits.
Yeah, when I tell people, like our students, it's like you're touching sound. You're literally, it's precise versus digital. There's a little latency and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, man. Because Serato, if you ask me, if I had to bring records, I'll bring 45s, right? I ain't not bringing I ain't not bringing
20 crates of records.
Hell no,
Remember
fuck that
those
shit,
days?
dude. I do not miss those days.
I know when it was like I got 2 USB drives.
That's a whole nother thing too. No, that's like fuck.
All right, last one: rhythm tracks or funky drummer.
And again, it was Drink Champs. I'd be drinking right now. That's like because there's 2 eras right there, dude. Like
that's
because for jar rhythm tracks is like that's like cutting it up. But funky drummers, and when you really start to realize about sampling and shit like that, and right. But then when you really discover, like about James Brown, but when you start discovering James Brown's, like you just like holy shit,
right? Like like how?
Like funky drummer
back then,
like funky drummer
ahead of their time
is the king of breaks, drums. That's so yeah, man. I can't say, but
but how many parties did you go to and you would hear rhythm tracks? And you're like, oh shit's about to go down right now.
Same thing when you hear a funky drummer.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, thank you. Man. That was a great interview. Thank you so much. And thank you for letting me into your home and giving this. You are a wealth of knowledge and a great historian.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'm humbled with what you've contributed to the DJ culture.
Well, I'm honored that you want to interview me and stuff. Yeah. I mean, again, I don't look at it as like, I'm still a fan. I still love doing this. That's the thing. That's what's key. To share, even talk about, this is the thing I tell about, but hip hop is the only culture that's like, there's again, generation gap. We don't share the knowledge and stuff like that. Now it's 51 years. Last year was 50, right? We're the only genre or culture that doesn't like really teach the history.
Yeah.
There's and then even now it's like people are fighting get the credits. And just because, again, I get it. Hip hop is, it's competition, egos and stuff like that. But then in order, like any culture, if you want this culture to survive, you got to share the knowledge, like I'm sharing at least what I know and experience. I don't know everything. I don't know. I still want to learn. I geek out I geek out when I get to ask questions, like when I talk to Egyptian, like it's crazy. Like I'm friends with Egyptian lovers. So, like
isn't that weird?
It is weird.
If I met him twice.
Right.
Like I'm not friends with him, but I met him. I was like, "You're Egyptian lover, man. Like you don't understand like my childhood and you. Like you're everything. Like all the beats. Like you shaped this whole little era for us." Yeah.
I mean, it's like
he's like I was making beats.
Right. Same thing with A.D.I.D.A.S.
I'll take it right. Yeah.
I trip out that like, those are my friends. They're my heroes and my brothers and shit. Like like. Have Posthumous and Mace or, Dave, rest in peace, like Jazzy Jeff or Premier, like, Battle Cat, just Tony G, like the Godfather, just like besides Egyptian lover, Tony G is the Godfather of our style and shit like that. For real.
Yep.
And shit. 100%. So just to have him, like be friends with them and him giving, that's the most humblingest thing. I say, like, no money in the world can pay for this type of respect and love and just to ask questions still and like, how did you do this? What is this?
And they're open.
And they're open. Yeah. When you meet, especially when you meet the people that, because there's other people too, whether they're legends, they say don't meet your heroes and stuff, so there's someone like that, but then you also got the younger cats, like you learn, you like, man, I learned a lot from just seeing how they move and shit like that. Like you said, it's like if we change our mind frame, I mean, granted, as we get older, we're not going to be as sharp, but if we decided that we know everything, that's when you lose. That's when you lose and you die. So yeah, man, just thank you. Like seriously, just able to share our stories and stuff. I mean, because you're a part of it, even though you might be in whatever, think of that level, but no, you're part of it. You got to talk about, you see, we get to share stories like, I didn't know this, or this is the only
It's
way.
great.
And they have to share this. This is the people are like, oh, I wish, that's another thing too. I do wish there was like, and I'm sure some people out there, I mean, I wish there was someone who would do a real legitimate like documentary or something on West Coast hip hop, because it's also disjointed.
I've always wanted to.
Yeah, I mean,
I was going to do one for like our area, like West Coast, like the little Filipino movement from there.
you should
But
actually.
then I read that book.
But see,
but he wrote for the Bay Area.
Yeah.
But then I was like,
You need to do one for the
West
LA.
Coast, yeah.
You need to do one. No, that's Bay Area. You need to do one for Southern California. Like seriously, for reals.
I think that'd be really good.
I think because it's good.
Well, see, that's what I'm trying to do with these. I'm trying to document because it's mainly to show like for us too, like just to show like for our age, but also for like the younger generation. Like,
Totally.
I want to hear a conversation. Like, I wish we could have heard like, Egyptian Lover talking to somebody. Let me go look at that old tape again. It's
Right.
like we don't have that.
We don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, like you need someone to be that has knowledge of it, but it's also kind of like removed, because once you. That was the thing too. Is like like I said, right? Once you do it, it's like no, it could be biased and stuff like that. You need someone that's going to be, because there's other members, not members, but there's other players and like they can ask. But of course, there's certain people that made more impact. But there's little things that like because even in West Covina, there's a lot of DJs. I'll tell you this story before we leave. I remember there's this guy named. Ironically, his name is Eric B. from a group called Metro Sounds. I think.
Metro Sounds. I don't remember
Is it Metro Sounds I don't remember. And I remember he was in this is the DJ battle in UCLA. All right, and he represented his group. Rec and myself, we represented Double Platinum, and it was ironically OG Sounds was in it. Tony Jr.
Oh,
and A.D.I.D.A.S were in it.
Oh.
All right. So it was in some battle up in the valley and stuff. It was a college battle. And Eric B won. But the funniest thing is, like, dude, he's doing Cash Money's routines, or he's doing right? The Filipinos, like, again, it was a Filipino, so it's like, I didn't know it, but I knew. I was like, he won. I was like, but then ironically, he was also connected to PR, Pinoy Royale, the gang.
Oh, well.
So it's kind of like.
That's why he won.
Well, no, but then again, you got to be careful, because it's like, it's like, one friend is like, fuck it, you won. Hey, good shit. It's like, I went up and then I remember it was like, hey, man, good shit, man. Congratulations. Yeah. Like, I was like,
Man.
and it was like, of course,
At least he could have been like appreciated.
Yeah, but then I, like, it's like, but in my head, it's like, you fucking biter. You a biter. But then it's like, if I said some shit, we get in a fight. And then it's like, you know what?
We'll pay you a visit.
Like, yeah. And like, and then I remember he tried to call out Curse. Curse was like, fuck that. They wanted to, he says, let's battle in the garage. Like, no, fuck that. Let's do that in the I remember this. Curse called me. He's like, hey, do you know that dude Eric B? He tried to want to battle me in the garage. Like, fuck that. If we do it, we're doing it in the fun, at a club or some shit like that.
Good old Curse. So did they ever battle?
Nah, no, of course not.
Where's that guy at now?
I don't know.
I think he's a vet somewhere.
Maybe.
Well, I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, whatever he's at.
Yeah.
But I just remember it's like, because it's like you're saying, it's like you bit from Spintronics and shit.
Yeah.
But and some people will use that shit, they'll whatever they learn and do it because no one knows that shit.
Yeah.
Little did he know, like, man, that's a joke. Cool.
Yeah,
you just did fucking Ugly People. You just did Pee Wee's Herman's Dance. You just did Tour de France.
Oh, no.
Right, dude? Like, come on, man. It was like you did not,
All right, before we leave, do you have anything to plug? Where can they find you at? On Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, I get Instagram, Twitter,
Instagram,
Threads. I guess
Threads.
what you call it.
Yeah, RHETTMATIC.
RHETTMATIC. Simple. Of course, for the Beat Junkies, Instagram is the Beat Junkies. Our website. So we have a record pool, beatjunkies.com. For our school, beatjunkiesound.com. For our online school, beatjunkies.tv. For the Visionaries, it's the Visionaries for Instagram and visionarieshiphop.com for our website and stuff. I got a Bandcamp page, rhetmatic.bandcamp.com. Other than that, I got a couple other projects coming up soon.
Anything you can talk about? Or is it all top secret?
Oh no. I'm working with this MC. He's originally from France. Well, he's back in France, but he was also from Brooklyn. His name is Napoleon the Legend. D worked with him, did a whole album. I have an album dropping in May with him. It's called Legmatic.
Legmatic.
Yeah, so really
nice.
really dope MC. He's like one, just like I said, there's a lot of independent, dope independent hip hop and shit. Be on the lookout for him.
Nice. Your last tracks on the last album you did. I think there's 3 tracks on there. All dope.
Which
on
one?
the hoodie.
Oh, yeah. We did 2. There's only 2
tracks.
Oh, I did the intro.
Yeah, you did the intro.
Tracks and
2 tracks
like that. So
all dope tracks.
Thank you, sir.
People check that out.
So trying to Visionaries, and just I got I did some cuts for Blue that's out right now. I did some cuts for this. Hopefully, it comes out. It's this MC. Her name's Kumbaya, produced by Marley Marl.
Oh, nice.
What else?
Marley Marl still producing.
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
I did some stuff for Eric Bobo and Stu Bangers.
Dope.
What else? Just
You're a busy guy, man.
I'm trying to stay busy. And of course, I'm at the school. So
how many days are you at the school?
I'm there Friday nights. So,
Friday nights. So anyone who wants to go get a lesson,
just go.
Come on down. Challenge him to some jujitsu.
I don't know about that. I just want to just lose weight. That's all.
Well, thank you very much, Rhett. Thank you again. You are a big contributor. Thank you for contributing to the culture, and you've made a significant mark, and you are a bolt of knowledge.
I try. I'm a nerd. Hey, I'm a nerd when it comes to this shit. So fuck. So, but no, thank you too. Thank you. I hope this does good for you and stuff. So much success to you and all, and whatever. And
hopefully, we can get that documentary going.
Honestly,
that would be dope.
No, honestly,
yeah, we talked about it. I've talked about it with some other friends before, and it's like I think we should do it because I was kind of planning around. Remember that other documentary, Scratch?
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking about doing something else at that time, and then that came out. I was like, oh, dude, this is so good.
You know what? You do need to talk to Oliver Wayne, dude. He lives out here now, right? So he's a professor at Long Beach and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you need that's.
I'll have to. Yeah. Okay.
I'll connect you.
Somebody knows. Yeah. You
I'll
know.
Connect you. Yeah, man. Cool. That's the man.
Thanks, man.
Right,
Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man. We are out. Check out my theme song. Here we go.
Word. 4 track.
4 track.
Oh, shit.